if you are watching on YouTube,
Right.
you missed the first 6 minutes of the podcast. I'm not going to put it on there.
No, we're not going to do that.
It's just going to be exclusive to the podcast. You have to go to iTunes.
Go to iTunes.
Or Apple Podcast app now it's called. Thank you. Sorry.
Apple Podcast or Podbean or whatever.
And you will be able to get those precious 6 minutes left. We talked a lot about donuts.
A lot about donuts and Morris Bakery. That's it.
But outside of that, for the last decade even, maybe more, maybe 2 decades, I've just been down this road, of what I thought was like a normal donut.
What are they? What's the other one? It's a cake donut and a yeast donut, or
don't know, like a regular glazed donut is like, how they're like soft inside.
I know. I believe they're called a yeast donut.
So that's all I've been getting. That's all I've been eating for the last 20 years of my life. Like
I agree.
Long Johns, maybe a cream filled one, something like that. I love a Boston cream.
Do you like the
that.
Boston cream or the yogurt, or not yogurt, the pudding, like vanilla pudding kind?
I like Boston cream, but any pudding type substance. Don't give me a jam.
No.
Get it out of here.
Get the jams out of here.
Sometimes they have ones at GC's that look exactly like Boston cream, and you bite in and they're full of strawberry jam. Throw them in the day olds. I don't want them.
Throw them in the garbage. I don't care if you throw them in the garbage. They're the worst.
Yeah. And it's just like, the jam they put in these things, man. It's too sweet. The jam's too sweet, Jerry.
It's just not good.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm looking for. I believe it's jelly, not a jam. Jam has actual fruit in it. Jelly is just...
Well, I just call it was jam because it's jammed in the donut.
No.
It's not jellied in there.
No, but it's jelly put in the donut.
Oh, well, I thought it was just jammed in. That's why they call it jam.
That's not it. It's injected. Idiot.
Anyway, so recently I went back and I recently ate a cake donut. And I'm like, What the hell, man? I feel like I've been missing out. You eat those other donuts.
They're good.
They're not satiating.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, they're good, but you can eat like 20 of them. But you eat a good cake donut, it takes a while to eat that thing.
I would agree.
They're
heftier.
It's like a 5-bite donut.
Sticks to your ribs.
The other ones are like 2-bite donuts.
I don't know about that.
Well, the way I bite.
You've got a hefty bite. That's what they say.
So I'm back on the cake donuts. Chocolate.
Oh, the double chocolate donuts.
Chocolate cake donuts.
Those are very, very good. Yeah. That's Grant's favorite.
My next stop, I'm going to start dipping them in coffee.
I've never done that.
Never done it?
I've never done it either.
I feel like I want to be a part of it.
It's a thing.
People do it.
It's been like a trope in the shows about like cops and whatnot, dipping their donuts in their coffee.
I should do that.
I've never done that in my life.
But those donuts, I feel like, never have frosting on them. That's the difference. You wouldn't dip a frosted donut.
You wouldn't think.
What are you, an animal?
I mean, I'd be an animal just to try it.
Yeah. And I've never really seen an unfrosted donut.
Who would buy an unfrosted donut? First of all.
What's the deal with unfrosted donuts?
What's the deal with unfrosted donuts?
I don't know, man. Only a fucking animal would do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like a pigeon. A pigeon would love an unfrosted donut.
Sure they would. I mean, so would a raccoon.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Any animal you can pick would love an unfrosted donut. Why are you making and
Except
selling
for a human animal
unfrosted donuts?
Why are you making donuts for animals, people?
Exactly.
It's not, they don't have money.
What am I, a Neanderthal?
Come on.
Or I believe it's pronounced tall.
You'd make a lot more money if you made donuts for people.
Yeah.
And the people demand frosting.
I have seen unfrosted donuts.
I see them occasionally.
The cake unfrosted donuts.
Now, if you had your choice between a donut or a cinnamon roll, which direction are you taking?
Depends on the donut. And I guess it would depend on the cinnamon roll too, because if you gave me
a good cinnamon roll,
like a really good one,
yeah, like a good quality home baked cinnamon roll, not out of a Pillsbury can,
yeah,
like a real one, versus let's see, like a cream filled chocolate Long John.
So I like the round ones better, like the round cream-filled ones.
Okay, either way.
I would pick that.
You pick the cream-filled donut?
I would.
I'm definitely going cinnamon roll.
Really?
Every time.
No, I would definitely go with the cream-filled. If it was any other type of donut, I would go cinnamon roll. But if it's a cream-filled donut...
What about the ones they fill not with like the pudding, but with just like the white?
Nope. I would go cinnamon.
It's like not Cool Whip, but it's like
that's what they call the Boston cream ones.
Oh, I don't like those ones. I like the. Okay, I thought they're like the pudding. That's what I like.
The pudding ones. A lot of people confuse that.
Yeah.
But if I
fuck Boston cream. Then.
Yeah, the Boston cream is that.
It's like whipped cream.
Yes, it's the white cream inside of it.
Okay.
The pudding ones, I don't know what to call them. I just call them.
I always thought that was Boston cream.
It's the pudding pop donut.
The pudding pop. All right, Jerry. Funny. I think we've thoroughly covered the subject of donuts.
It's just such a good topic.
What's your favorite donut, listener?
Yeah.
Let us know.
And do you like Morris Bakery? If you don't tell us.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the show anymore. Morris
Bakery, officially, Snarf Recommends.
Snarf Recommends.
I like it. I like that segment. We should do it more often.
I like it a lot, too.
I could go for a Snarf, like, was our last Snarf recommended, was it revolving on barbecue restaurants?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't remember. We did it a while ago.
Okay.
It's quite some time ago.
One of our loyal listeners will probably comb through all 150 hours of it content to find out.
Yes, that's absolutely what they should do. I have a little news thing here, Chris.
Okay. Do we have any, what are we talking about this week before we get into the news, just so we can update the listeners going forward? We're going to do a little Star Wars talk.
Yeah, we're going to do a little Star Wars talk.
We're going to do a little Watchmen talk.
Yes.
And we're going to do some news, and we have tons of what we're watching.
Correct.
So stay tuned on that.
So, the little bit of news, the news will run into the Star Wars talk, by the way. So the first little news I had was that since we've last met, there was a little like infograph that came out on Reddit that I saw, and it was like what we know so far about the Batman movie.
Oh, right, okay.
And it just covered a few things, quite a few things. They know for sure that it's obviously it is the DC universe that is unconnected to the Joker movie.
Okay, what about to like the other DC movies, like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Justice League? It
didn't specify, but it did say DC Universe movie.
I think it's odd that they're like continuing forward with Wonder Woman and Aquaman, presumably,
right?
In a universe that they've already established with Justice League and like, but they're just not going to do any more Batmans or Supermans.
I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal to change a character.
I don't think so either. Probably.
To me, I mean, even if let's say they did bring Batman back in with the exact same Wonder Woman and the exact same Aquaman, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me.
It'd be a little weird. It doesn't bother me either, though.
If they could start making a decent movie, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to happen.
I think Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Yeah, she's awesome.
I think she's a great Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I think Jason Momoa's a good Aquaman if you can make a good Aquaman movie.
No comments.
I think he's a good Aquaman. It's just that
he's
there's
fine.
There's just really no place for the character.
I don't know anything about Aquaman, really, much.
We don't need him. Yeah. I would much rather have a phenomenal Flash.
Yeah.
Than Aquaman at all.
Which I actually like that guy who was playing Flash. He'd be good.
Ezra Miller?
Yeah.
He's fine. I can't get over my Barry Allen in the CW shows.
Get over it.
He's good. It's a good show. And he's a good actor.
Good. It's a good show.
Grant Gustin.
He's not ready for the prime time.
It's not that he's not ready for prime time. They're never going to let him be in.
I actually thought the other guy was better.
In Batman, what was it? V Super? Or
he
Justice
seems
League?
like a good Flash. I liked him. Kid's got grit.
No, he doesn't. He seemed too emo and weird.
What? He was like funny.
I mean, he was quippy.
I like Quippy.
Yeah.
He was like basically the DC's Spider-Man.
He was
Flash.
Quickie Quickerson with his quick quips.
Yeah.
Huh? You like that? That's pretty good. Ties in with the Flash really well.
Yeah. So Batman.
Oh, right.
Unconnected. Apparently.
No. it may be connected to those movies. It's unconnected to Joker. It's just proving. It was just saying like the new Joker movie is not going to be in the same universe that this
How do they know
Matt
that?
Reeves.
Who knows that?
I don't know. Apparently, it was put out. So that's a fact.
Okay.
And then it's a fact that there's going to be Catwoman, the Riddler, and Penguin all in the movie.
Too many villains.
But they put for sure that it's going to be the Long Halloween.
Oh, okay.
So it's not.
Yeah.
You have to have all those villains. Plus, they said more villains are going to be in the movie than those three.
I'm in.
The only ones that are guaranteed as of right now are Catwoman, the Riddler, and the Penguin. But there will be other villains that show their face. Then they were saying that there was probably going to be other villain movies that were tied into this one.
Okay.
So after this movie comes out, they're going to make standalone movies just like the Joker, but that are tied in to this Batman universe.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a good idea, but
I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea.
I'm in for it. Whatever.
It will make them
Can you make
money.
the Long Halloween one movie? It's a big book, man. There's a lot going on in that story.
Yes, there is a lot.
It's been a while since I've read it. I'm going to reread it. Let's pledge to reread it,
Okay.
and then we'll do a little review.
Yeah,
I thought they were also making an animated Long Halloween.
Didn't they already?
No, I don't think so. They
I
did
thought
Hush.
I thought they did a Long Halloween.
I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay. Maybe, I don't know if they're doing an animated one or not at all. But that was all I had on the Batman. It was just going over what was like for sure. This is what's happening. There was something about Robert Pattinson. Oh, he was saying, so they haven't started any production or anything with the Batman yet. And the reason for that is because Robert Pattinson was still doing another movie and he had to be really skinny for the movie he was doing. And so he said as soon as this movie's done filming, when he's done, he's going to basically torture himself for the next 3 to 4 months in the gym to bulk up, and to get bigger.
I mean, walk off the fucking set, man. You're Batman now.
Well, in
It's
the middle
over.
of a production,
Whatever
I think you really can.
sad indie
I think
staring
that's
off
what it
into
is,
the
too.
distance movie you're making right now, stop it.
I think it was the Lighthouse movie,
Oh my God.
which they've done. They're finished with production, but he was still doing like press and whatnot, and he didn't have time to get into the gym.
Nobody's going to see that movie.
No.
Bobo.
No.
It's time to be Batman
I
now.
thought it was already out.
Let's put on your big boy pants and Batman up.
No, it was weird. Have you seen
Get your bat nipples out.
Have you
Try
your
and milk
bat
them.
nips up? Have you seen anything about that Lighthouse movie?
No, I don't even know what you're talking
It's
about.
weird. I don't know. It's about a guy that lives in a lighthouse and
Not
takes care
interested.
of it. It looks really strange.
Like Aquaman?
No, not like Aquaman. I guess similar because it's a lighthouse, but that's the only
So
similarity.
it's exactly like Aquaman
Yes. It's exactly like Aquaman without the aqua or the man.
and the
Fish
giant,
people.
Yeah. Okay.
No black manta.
No.
None of that.
Okay.
So that's done with. The next little bit of news is Star Wars related. And there was another show that came out. You might have heard of it. It was Game of Thrones, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones?
Might as well be.
Something like that. It had come out a few years ago, ended poorly. But the creators of that
But
show
still broke records.
Right. Still absolutely broke records, and I loved the first 7 seasons.
Yeah.
The creators of that show, Benioff and Weiss, they were set to do a Star Wars trilogy
Correct. Yeah.
and have since been pulled.
They have been let go.
They have been kicked to the curb.
Nobody
as they
knows
say.
for sure if they were fired or quit, but it sounds like the buzz is that they probably got fired because they got a little open at a panel, and we're basically said in a panel like, yeah, we had no idea what we were doing after we ran out of material from George R.R. Martin, and we had no idea what we were doing, and we had to learn what we were doing as we were going.
Oh,
And I don't know if that's what caused it.
I didn't know that. I never heard that part of it.
It could also be the fact that they just signed like a $300 million deal with Netflix.
Right, with Netflix. And they don't need it.
Yeah, because the other big
But
news.
still, why would you
concerning them is-
why would you get out of Star Wars?
It was super confusing, but the other big news concerning them was they had 2 Game of Thrones prequels being planned.
right.
One was based on the Targaryens' history, and one was concerning the first Long Night. So, like the first battle against the White Walkers. So it came out that they're not doing that one, the White Walker one.
They are doing the Targaryen one though.
Right, but when the news broke that said, hey, this Game of Thrones prequel is not happening. It's not coming to HBO. Everybody was like, oh my God, they lost that job too. But nobody was paying attention to the fact that the other one is being made. So then the news that the other one was being made for sure came out, and everybody's like, no, it just got canceled. Didn't you read? It was super confusing.
Yeah, that is strange.
But apparently they are making Targaryen's
Yeah.
Game of Thrones prequel on HBO still.
I think they're calling it Rise of the Targaryens.
Is that true?
No, I made that up. And then the next one will be like the last
Targaryens
Targaryen.
Awaken.
Targaryens Awaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the last one.
I watched The Last Jedi last night.
Did you?
Well, like the first 20 minutes and I fell asleep. But
Oh,
solid, man.
20 minutes, huh?
For the beginning of that movie's good.
I like all of it.
Yeah.
I like all of them. I really do. There's nothing in those movies
The
that
blue
really
milk
make
thing
me
is real kind of weird.
green
Or
milk.
milk in the,
Yeah. Well, they had blue milk, but the green milk part of it. Yeah.
like sucking on the, was he suckling on its teat? No. He was just
No,
milking
he
it.
pulled it. Yeah, he was just pulling on the teat.
That was weird.
It's unnecessary.
agree that that was
yeah,
weird?
That's very unnecessary and very cringeworthy. I don't know why you would do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're off Star Wars, which that trilogy is out there then. I don't know if they were going to get somebody else to do a trilogy or if they're just going to...
So are they still, is Rian Johnson still doing a trilogy? Because I've
No.
heard yes, I've heard no, I've heard yes.
No, I had always heard... Well, at first we heard he was, and then next thing you know, it was like, no, he was never going to do that. And then the next thing came out is that these guys, Benioff and Weiss, were doing a trilogy. So I don't think there's another trilogy out there that anybody was doing.
Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy reportedly unlikely to go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't think so. I think this was the only one that was coming out, or that they had planned on doing.
So they don't have a plan then, sounds like.
None.
All right.
They
Fair
have
enough.
None. And
Sounds like it's going to be a while before we see more Star Wars in
Right.
theaters.
I think so. I think it could be. It'll definitely be more than a year or two.
How much
Because
would
they
it...
didn't have anything in the pipe right now besides, the Rise of Skywalker and then the Mandalorian.
Right.
That was it.
The Obi-Wan show.
The Obi-Wan show.
And there's
that's right.
more Clone Wars, and I think there's another upcoming as yet untitled live action series planned.
Oh, so they got some things in the making. Then.
Yeah.
Just not big budget like blockbuster film.
Apparently not, but we'll see. But it takes a long time to make these things, so 3 years probably, right? Until we see another Star Wars movie.
One a lot faster than that.
I could definitely. Yeah.
It's not that hard. Have you seen our YouTube videos?
Yeah.
I mean,
They're pretty good.
we could make a serious film.
So if we're talking about Star Wars, let's just stay on Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there was 2 big trailers that dropped.
Yes, there was.
So we can talk about the first one of them, which was for the upcoming 12 days from now. Or if you're listening to this, it already came out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's already been out. Yeah.
The Mandalorian trailer.
Holy
Is it like the
smokes.
second or the third trailer? The one that came out.
I think it's number 2.
last week of October. And it was stunningly, I thought it looked incredible.
It blew my mind. So you had texted me and said, wow, like that Mandalorian trailer is amazing. And I didn't watch it that night. I watched it the next morning. And as soon as it started, just like the visual aspect of it, the way it looks, the way it's shot,
Yeah, it looks great.
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like you don't see that in TV shows. You don't see it in any TV show. It is blockbuster movie,
At least from the
quality from the
trailer
trailers.
scenes.
From this is all we have to go off of. But from those trailer scenes, it looks like a movie. It's I just have a feeling I'm going to be disappointed that it's a TV show because the episodes will probably be too short for me.
Well,
I mean, I'm sure they're going to be an hour, but either way, I'm going to be like, oh, let's keep this going.
I hope
please.
they release it all at once and not like week to week. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I don't know. Yeah, has Disney said what they're gonna do? Are they dropping
I don't think
things?
so. I'm sure they have, but we don't know. But
people are starting to go back to that whole like one episode a week thing.
it just looks.
I don't like that.
I like it sometimes. I do.
Why?
I don't
Why?
mind it. I don't mind it. I like it. It stretches out a thing that you're watching.
It does.
Gives
but
it a little more.
I don't binge anything in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
It's just not possible for me to do.
Right.
So no matter what, it's going to take
taking
me
you a while anyway.
a couple weeks at a minimum
Right.
to watch a season, regardless of episode length, regardless of number of shows, number of episodes. It's either way, it's going to take me at least 2 weeks.
Right. Well, anyway, I'm betting they drop it all at once. That would be my guess.
I hope so.
But it looks great. It looks amazing. One thing that stood out to me was not necessarily the production value as much as I love that they're doing this like idea where he's like a lone gunman, like cowboy type bounty hunter thing going on.
Yeah.
But the guy who's playing him, like the motions and the movements that he makes are like so spot on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there's
they're-
one where he like leans back and like fires a weapon and like dodges something at the same time.
Yeah.
But he like looks like a cowboy when he does it.
Yes.
And I'm like, that guy practiced that move. Like
Absolutely. He was like trained for
it
that.
looks really cool. Like but it's such a subtle little thing that makes me think like somebody knows what they're doing here,
Yeah.
or that actor's just like really got
Very
this
good.
nailed. He's got it under wraps.
This is taking place after the Empire, right? So it's like after Return of the Jedi. Everything's collapsed for the Empire.
I'm not honestly. I knew that at one point because they have said it, but I can't remember.
I thought they said it in the trailer.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's after.
Because there's that shot of, which I think is amazing, even though it's, it's kind of cliche when you come to like having heads on sticks, right? But they have stormtrooper helmets on sticks, like impaled on these sticks. They're all dirty and there's some blood marks on them and whatnot. I don't know why I loved that, but just them panning across and a guy walking past and you see those helmets stuck on sticks. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Empire.
I mean, it's obviously it's going to be like,
even though they have nothing to do with either side because they
destroyed,
but they're a bounty hunter. It doesn't matter.
I understand, but that's what I was going to say. Clearly it's going to start out with him just being like a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go more into like, claiming or recapturing their homeland and revenge against the Empire for what they did to
Sure.
Mandalore.
Probably. You're probably right.
So I mean, there's like a long history there. Like Mandalore, right? Is the name of the planet.
Yeah.
They, like for the longest time, they had like a huge rebellion themselves against the Empire, and then they didn't join the rebellion.
No, they didn't.
But they like resisted the Empire for a long time, and I think eventually it was conquered, or maybe it never was conquered. I can't remember the
I'm
exact.
pretty sure it was taken over.
Yeah, I think eventually it was taken over, and I think, yeah, it's a big and they're very tribal.
It
so
is.
There's like going
It's
to be
like
a lot of politics. It's kind of like a Game of Thrones type thing. I feel like it's going to be very Game of Thronesy, but obviously it's on Disney Plus, so it's not going to be nearly as, I would assume, violent or.
You don't know though.
I mean, they've already said they're not doing anything but PG-13 level programming, so it's not going to be Game of Thrones. But I'm excited nonetheless. I can't wait. It's probably the thing I'm most excited about right now. I'm probably more excited about that than I am about the new Star Wars movie.
Oh, no. This is the end of an era, Chris.
Is it?
Yes, absolutely. They're
Well-
not making any more Skywalker Saga movies.
What does that mean?
What do you mean?
So they're not like
It won't be in the same timeline.
so the Rey and all they're all done,
Yes,
done.
Yes.
Because didn't she sign like a 9-movie contract?
It's ending. That doesn't mean that they won't have offshoot movies, but it won't be in the same timeline. It won't be with the same people, like in the same things.
If I believed that, I think I'd be a little more, you know.
How could you not believe it when it's been said multiple times? Like, this is the end of the Skywalker saga, which is that story.
What's the name of the movie?
Sure. Well, Return of the Jedi was like the last movie they were making too. They had no intentions of making any more
Yeah,
movies.
but Return isn't the same as Rise. Rise of the Skywalker.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
No. Return. So Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, and then
this is the Return of the Jedi. In that movie is the Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Luke Skywalker is the Return of the Jedi.
Right.
That movie wraps up. That's over. Rise of Skywalker implies that this is the beginning.
no, it doesn't. It just means that Skywalkers are now finally coming up and overtaking the rebellion, or not the rebellion. What are they called?
They already did that.
No, they didn't. When?
Kylo
Ren
Return
isn't
of the
like-
Jedi.
Kylo Ren isn't like taking over everything, and like what are they called? I can't.
Well,
remember.
he's technically a Skywalker,
Technically, yeah,
so
he is.
maybe he's rising.
I
Who's
think-
rising
I
here?
think he is. I think him and Rey are rising together.
So you think she's a Skywalker?
I do.
Who? Who is she?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure who she could be, but
I think that
I
she
do think
was-
she's tied into the family somehow
Immaculate Conception.
by the Force tree.
No, by the milk thing.
Right. She's a milk baby.
The milk baby.
The udder baby.
she squeezed out of one of those udders.
I do think she's tied to that family somehow. One way or another. I don't know how they're going to spin it, but
what's to say they can't continue with those characters and just be done with Luke and Leia?
I'm not saying they can't. They absolutely
Well, you
could.
said they can't. You said they cannot. You
I'm
said it's
saying-
done in the timeline.
The Skywalker saga is done. Yes, so that timeline
all
is
that
done.
could mean is that Luke and Leia are done. That doesn't mean that the movies can't continue to go.
I don't know. If anybody has a Skywalker name, you can't continue it.
Well, nobody does have a Skywalker name right now.
No, but if you're any part of a Skywalker,
Well,
can't go. Can't go on.
what are you making the rules now?
I am, as we go.
How much do you think it would cost for Disney to hire George Lucas back?
They would never. They bought him out. And he's
No,
super
just
pissed.
as a director.
I
Just
don't-
as
I don't
like,
think he
hey,
would
George,
do it.
Come back and write and direct a new movie. These ones didn't work
Do you think
out so
he'd
great.
do that?
No,
I don't think
he
he
would do
would.
that. And I also think that they're going like, whatever, man. We made like $1.5 billion per movie.
Right. They do not care about him.
No.
They do not care about him in the slightest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're done. I don't think I don't think Rey's.
So what's the future of Star Wars cinematic universe? What's the future, Jerry?
The future is new movies. The universe is huge. Do you know how many books are out?
So like entirely new stories?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think they're going to follow a lot of the books that are out. They're going to take books that have been put out in the Star Wars universe and adapt them to movies.
I don't think those are going to do as good
Why?
as like the core movies, because I mean Rogue One didn't do as well, either did Solo, compared to like the core.
I think Rogue One did pretty okay.
Yeah, it did. I'm not saying it didn't do well, but it didn't do Force Awakens business. It didn't do Last Jedi business.
I don't think you're going to get there because it's a continuation of a story. Starting a new story within the same realm
My point
isn't going
is,
to be as good.
why
no matter
start a
what.
new story then? Why not just keep going? People seem to like it.
I just don't think they're doing that.
Well, I think they're going to do whatever makes them the most money.
When we'll find out,
And
I
I
guess.
think what makes them the most money is to keep going.
Yeah.
To have some kind of a cliffhanger ending and be like, and we're going to be back.
I think if you put the word Jedi in anything or Sith in anything, it will draw people in from the Star Wars community no matter what.
Yeah, I think there's a
So-
big draw. Like you're discounting that there's a huge draw though to Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and
Right.
Harrison Ford. That was a big draw for these new movies.
I think there's a bigger Star Wars community though that isn't just about Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher.
I think it's all about the kids. Now you got to get these kiddies on board.
Right. I think there's a big book community that you're missing out on.
Yeah, I heard there's a really good book.
There's
that
tons
is
of them.
no, but it's directly pre this movie, Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah, there's a guy that I've listened to on the writing podcast that I listen to every once in a while. I've kind of fallen out of listening to the podcast because it's been really boring lately, and they haven't had any good writers on. But there was a guy that was on one of the writing podcasts that I listened to that writes Star Wars books, and they are all either before or after the movies take place. So he'll get the script to the movies so that he can start writing the book. That way, they.
Oh, really?
Yes, that way they can tie into each other.
I've read several. There's one writer that I've read who was just not a very good writer. Like, it was not good.
See, that's why I feel like if we could just complete something, we could get it in
Turns
the
out
mainstream.
we can't. There is another writer that I've read, though, a couple books. Well, I guess I've only read one from her, I think. I think it's Claudia Gray.
Wait, have you just recently learned to read? Because I didn't think you knew how.
Yeah. It's a new. I'm learning with Cash
Awesome.
as we go.
Congratulations.
Anyway, I think her name is Claudia Gray. She writes a bunch of these Star Wars books.
Okay.
She's great.
Really?
Yeah, very good.
Let me look her up.
I read one called Bloodlines. That's like,
oh yeah, Claudia Gray Star Wars books.
Yeah, she wrote Bloodlines, I think it was, which was about like Princess Leia's time in the Senate and stuff after Return of the Jedi.
I read that.
It was really good.
That's more than one book, right?
I only read one, so I don't know.
I thought it was more than one.
The one that I'm talking about that is pre-Rise of Skywalker is called Resistance Reborn. Journey to Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Rebecca Roanhorse.
Oh,
Heard that was good. So
she did Master Apprentice.
Who did? Claudia Gray?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's done a bunch of them.
Bloodline. Yeah, it's just one book. I've read that. It looks really cool. It's got like a Russian cover to it.
Yeah, the other one that I read, I can't remember. It was a whole series. There was like 3 or 4 of them. And it just wasn't very good. I can't remember what it was called, but
Firebird,
no,
Spellcaster,
no,
Evernight series.
no.
Oh,
No, I don't remember. But Claudia Gray also had another one that was the last. It was Leia, Princess of Alderaan. It was supposed to be really good. I haven't read that.
She's only done 1, 2, 3, 4 Star Wars books.
Okay.
This is what it looks like. This is from her website, claudiagray.com.
Yeah, that's
She
probably
did
right.
Journey to Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Lost Stars, 2015. And then Bloodline came out in 2016. It says Witness the Birth of Resistance, which is cool. Leia, Princess of Alderaan in 2017, and Master and Apprentice 2019, which is about what it looks like to be Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan.
Huh.
Yeah, it says, perhaps a Jedi's most essential duty is to pass on what they have learned. Master Yoda trained Dooku, Dooku trained Qui-Gon Jinn, and now Qui-Gon has a Padawan of his own. But while Qui-Gon has faced all manner of threats and dangers as a Jedi, nothing has ever scared him like the thought of failing his apprentice, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
So it's basically about that. That's one guy they didn't do well on, Qui-Gon Jinn.
No,
He literally died right away.
It wasn't right away.
No, I mean, he didn't fight, but as soon as he started fighting, he died right away.
Yeah, and by all accounts, from what I've read, not in actual books, but like from other people saying, is that he was like super powerful, pretty badass Jedi.
Right. So how does that
He just
happen?
didn't have the midichlorians that day.
Oh gosh. Don't get started on the midichlorians.
They weren't
You're
with
kind
him.
of a backer on midichlorians, aren't you?
I am a backer of midichlorians.
You're ridiculous. So,
Let me be on
backstory.
record. I love a midichlorian.
Give somebody backstory on what a midichlorian is.
A midichlorian is a component of your
Blood.
DNA, blood,
Yeah.
whatever, the more of them you have, the more force sensitive you are. So if you have a high midichlorian count, you're more likely to be attuned to the force.
To the force, yes.
So, obviously they just took the word mitochondria and said midichlorian. But it was like a huge issue. Like the Star Wars community hated it.
Right.
I never really understood why, honestly. I never understood why people have such a problem with it. It actually kind of makes sense. I don't know. Like, what's the problem with midichlorians? Why do people hate it so much?
I think it stems from, like, the first movies obviously never mentioned anything about it. And it was more of a, like, get yourself in tuned with everything around you.
Oh, right.
Like
so
the force is in us, around us. It's through us. It's through everything. Like, that's what Yoda says. Like, it's everywhere.
So anybody can...
So anybody could be within the force.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they come out with the prequels saying... And these are technically the prequels. These are happening before Yoda's telling this to Luke. And then they say, well, no, this is all in your blood and you're born this way. Some people are born with it. Some people aren't. So it kind of contradicts what Yoda was teaching Luke to begin with.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Right.
I mean, who cares? To be honest with you, I kind of think they're dumb. I like the Yoda version. Like, it's around you, like it's in us, it's through us, it's wherever we are. I like the idea that anybody could be a Jedi rather than you're being born with it.
Right.
Maybe you're born with it. Maybe you're Maybelline, you know?
I was just going to say that.
I know. I couldn't get it out of my head as soon as I said maybe you're born with it. I don't know. I like that take better, but I just don't like to make a bunch of controversy over something so small. Like, just watch the movie.
Yeah.
If you want to ignore that part and just ignore the word midichlorian, and you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Because it doesn't affect literally anything else in the movie.
So, two of the other books that I read, and I can't remember which one was not good and which one was good. So, that's kind of a problem.
Yes.
One was called, it was a trilogy. It was the Aftermath trilogy. So, it was Star Wars Aftermath by Chuck Wendig.
Palachuk?
And I read that one a while ago. I mean, these were all a couple of years ago. And then the other one that I read was... Oh, by the way, there's one called Ahsoka. That's about Ahsoka Tano, which is supposed to be an amazing book.
You haven't read that?
No.
That's your favorite character.
I know. If anybody wants to give me that for Christmas, it'd be great. I'll probably buy it before then, so probably don't do that. But
because then I'll have two books.
Kind of forgot about it until just now. The other one I read was Star Wars Catalyst, a Rogue One novel. So one of those two, Aftermath or Catalyst, was hot garbage, and the other one was good. But I can't remember which was
probably
which.
Catalyst. Anything with the word catalyst in it sounds like it sucks.
Okay, it was like a Rogue One prequel.
So I read a series of books. It was a trilogy about the Jedis, and it was with.
Are you talking about old books or new canon?
They're older. They're from like when I deployed. So 2005, 2006, 2007. They came out around that time.
I mean, I've read a ton of the old books, but none of them are canon anymore.
Right. I don't think any of this is canon.
All those ones I just mentioned are all new. They're all canon. Anything written since Disney took over is canon.
Yeah, for sure. This is before that, though.
Okay.
It was about Jedis. It was like the Jedi Republic or something.
There was like Jedi Academy, and there was...
wasn't that.
There was so many books. I mean, it's hard to...
So Luke was training people at the time, and he was training... Han and Leia as twins.
Yep. I read that book too. I can't remember what it was
called. There was like 4 of them.
But there was like 4 of them. I have them.
I have them as well.
It's like they're like Jedi.
It was like the new Jedi Order.
Yes.
New Jedi Order.
New Jedi Order. Yep. And they were probably I would say that series was probably the second most popular of like the extended universe book series.
I liked it.
The one that was probably the most popular, which was my favorite. I was obsessed with these books, but it was the Thrawn trilogy.
Oh yeah,
by Timothy Zahn. I think that was from like the late 90s,
oh
maybe
yeah,
mid 90s.
that's phenomenal. I read that a long time ago.
Oh my god, you could read those books over and over and over again. They're so good. So good.
I really liked the new Jedi Order, and
Good enough that they brought Thrawn back into canon now, and there's actually a new book about Thrawn, and I think that he should be maybe a villain going forward.
I thought it was Thawne.
Is it Thrawn or Thawne? Grand Admiral Thawne?
Thawne, yeah.
I thought it was Thrawn. No, it's Thrawn.
Is it Thrawn?
Yeah, I'm always right, Jerry.
I know you are.
It's Thrawn. Grand Admiral Thrawn.
I just have to always question you.
But there's a new Thrawn book by Timothy Zahn, the guy who created him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Thrawn.
Oh, I thought is it Thawne or no? It's Thrawn.
You're really being a Thrawn in my side.
That was good.
Yeah, it was good.
That was pretty good. Let's see. Nightfall. No, where's the name of these books? I'm trying to find them.
Then there's also Thrawn, the Ascendancy trilogy that comes out this year. May 5th, 2020 is the book one of the Ascendancy trilogy, Star Wars Thrawn. Sweet.
Yeah. That'll be good. I can't find the name of these books. I was going to tell you
he is going crazy with these Thrawn books because there's another one. Thrawn, Treason, Star Wars Thrawn, Book 3. Tons of Thrawn stuff. If you're into Thrawn.
It's so good.
How many times can we say that?
The original book series, that trilogy is really good.
So, if
that's what got me.
We should get into more Star Wars stuff because there's another big trailer that came out.
Yes. So the new movie coming out, Rise of Skywalker, had their last, I think it's their last trailer, right?
Yeah. It'd be their third trailer, I believe.
Yes. It has come out.
I don't know why they needed to put out another trailer. They put out two, but some people were saying it was to capture the more general audience.
So here's what I'll say right off the bat. I liked the first couple trailers because you didn't know anything that was going on.
Right.
You had no idea. It was like, whoa, she flipped over that ship coming with Kylo in it, and maybe she cuts it in half, or you have no idea what's going on. Right. Besides, someone's gonna rise, and it's probably gonna be a Skywalker,
and the fact that she
is flippy, or a lot flippier.
Immediately as a Jedi.
Yeah, right. A very specialized.
Yesterday, she touched the lightsaber.
Yeah, and she picked up a couple rocks at the end of one movie. The last movie, right. She picked up a couple rocks.
Right.
And got them out of it. That's about it. Now she can do a whole hell of a lot of stuff, and hopefully they tell you how that happens. But, so, again, they don't really reveal much in the movie to you, just bits and pieces, but you don't really gather what the story's going to be. I feel like after this third one, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I think
it's a really good trailer.
Visually, it's amazing. The trailer itself is awesome, but I just feel like they reveal too much. Now, in saying that, I also believe that everything you see in a trailer is a lie.
Excited. Don't get too excited.
Wow. It's amazing.
It's extremely hot in here.
It is boiling. Every time we come in here, it's it's 400 degrees.
Yeah, it's
you guys
obscene.
had your heat on in August.
It's crazy.
And it's dumb. We're not growing anything in here.
It's getting hot in her. So take off all your clothes. I get so hot. I won't take my clothes off. I got a sweet Doctor Who shirt on.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
By happenstance.
All of those are little...
they're little TARDISes in the shape of the British flag.
Mm-hmm.
I like wearing it. That's a bad accent.
What do they call it? The...
Hey, broke? No, that didn't work.
Oh, that's bad. What do they call it? They call it something.
The Union Jack.
Union Jack.
I like wearing around this shirt, around this area, because people just hate it. They hate you when you wear a British flag on your shirt.
Why?
Because they're dumb,
Who,
Jerry.
Who hates you?
People are dumb.
But who hates you?
Like you go to Walmart or somewhere. People give you...
Do you get attacked at Walmart?
They give you like sideways glances. They're like, this is America.
What are you, some Brit?
What are you fucking...
Is that what they do? My gosh.
People
That's
got a real
insane.
issue.
With Britain?
With like overdeveloped patriotism.
Yes. There is overdeveloped patriotism.
It's like, I can't handle it anymore. I'm like,
I
see
just
people on Facebook and stuff, and I know that's not a great place to look, but I'm like,
I don't believe
like,
that you've
get
been
over
personally attacked or
no, I haven't been physically assaulted.
no. Or have people come up to you and said like, really don't like your shirt, bud.
No, I feel like a side eye.
So you're just making it up then. You're basing all of this on
victim.
You're
Jerry.
basing all of this on assumption of
I guess
someone's
if
side
you want to,
eye?
if you want to be in a culture of victim blaming, then yeah, that's fine.
I am going to be in a culture of victim
Because
blaming.
I thought we had moved past that.
Well, we haven't because you're just
Because
making
this
shit up.
Is America.
This is America, and I can be a victim of America. I'm American, and I can be a victim of too much American.
Because I have lots of articles of clothing that have the American flag on them. Tons of them.
You do? I never see you wear them.
I wear them all the time.
Well,
Which you're not supposed to do, by the way.
No, you're not supposed to print the flag on anything.
Mr. America.
You're not. I have nothing on that's American.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people.
I'm just a camo guy.
The people that are like hardcore. Like you're not supposed to be wearing a flag.
It's actually written in the rule book.
It says it in
flag.
the Holy Bible, which was written by God and handed down
About
to
the
Dale Earnhardt.
about the American flag.
He put it in the Winston Cup.
It survived the wreck at Daytona when Dale Earnhardt died, and he raised it up.
God
the
came
burning
down that
car.
mountain, put that Bible down to that Winston Cup, filled it with Jack Daniels, son. And that's Tennessee whiskey. Now, that ain't no Kentucky
What
bourbon.
about that Mountain Dew?
He put some Mountain Dew. He put some Jack Daniels. He mix them together. That's called a fucking mountain goat. All right. And then
Is it really called a Mountain Goat, or did you just make that up?
No, I believe that's what it's
I
called.
believe that's a Mountain Goat.
Pulled out that Bible, lit it on fire. That was the burning bush.
The Mountain Goat burnt.
Burning bush. That's what he said.
So what's that got to do with your shirt?
Oh, nothing. That's where it says that you can't have American flags on your shirt.
That's right. That's right.
But yet,
No, that it is a real thing. You're not
I
supposed
know, but I do, and everybody does.
to print the flag on anything.
Listen, Jerry, nobody loves the U.S. of A. more than me. Well, there probably are people, but I'm way up high on that list.
All right.
I'm like in the top 10.
Can I rank in there at all?
Yeah,
or?
you're like probably higher than me because you're a veteran.
All right.
But I'm in,
Thank you for
that's
that.
over the top 10.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
every morning when I wake up, while I brush my teeth, I sing.
hum.
I hum.
I always do.
And I can't.
Yeah.
Let's just take a break right here. We'll
What?
talk about.
What?
We'll sing a little song for America. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I can't forget the man who died to give that right to me. And I proudly stand up next to you.
and defend her still today.
Wow, that's good. 'Cause there ain't
No doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
That's right.
So Star Wars had a trailer come out. All I was saying about the trailer is that so at first I was saying it tells you too much, and I didn't like how it was showing a lot of things that I feel like were telling. But then I also believe in my heart of hearts and my mind of minds of trailer watching that it's all a lie.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
So I feel like it's cut together and put that way to make you believe certain things are going to happen when that movie ain't coming out.
I
Know what I'm saying?
No, I'm saying, yeah.
Bro.
Respect. I am not, I'm not going to get my hopes too high.
I don't have a doubt I'm going to love the movie. I feel like you're already hating on it.
No, I'm just
I feel
not
like
going to
you're-
get my hopes too high because I did that with The Force Awakens. It was a great movie. I liked it. But, like, my hopes were too high.
What are your hopes right now? My only hopes...
I just want something original. That's my only hope.
My only hopes for the films, and I guess this would technically be a letdown, but it hasn't bothered me as much now as it did when I first saw it, is that I wanted Luke to fight.
Right.
I wanted Luke to be... I wanted to see him use his Jedi powers that he has attained over the years and, like, you know, beat some ass.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to see him do. Like, I wanted to see him do something cool. I had the same hope for Yoda. When I knew Yoda was going to have a fight, and then it was, like, against Dooku, and I was like, oh,
it was a good fight.
This should be awesome. But then he, like...
It was a good fight.
It was okay.
He was flipping around, spinning around, flipping.
He was all flippy
It
floppy.
was flipping around, yeah? Flipping around.
He was.
Flipping all over the place.
That little guy flipped all over. But then he went and hid on Dagobah,
Yeah.
you know, because he lost.
But he knew the future. He had to. He did that on purpose, man.
He lost. He was supposed to be like...
He didn't lose.
He
He's
did.
playing the long game.
No, if you remember correctly, he regretted the fact that he couldn't save everyone and he couldn't defeat Dooku. So he hid in disgust of himself.
I think he's playing the long game. The long con.
They have never said that. So, so you're making stuff up again.
I said
to satisfy
that's
your
what I
own
like
needs?
to believe. I like to believe that.
But what you believe and what reality are two different things.
Maybe.
You're wrong. He lost, and it disappointed me. Same thing with Luke. He shouldn't have died just because...
That was disappointing.
Here's the thing. Why is it that this strong-ass Jedi, the only Jedi of his capability at the time...
Or maybe ever.
...dies just from force projection?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Maybe he didn't die.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he died either. I don't think he died.
I think he comes back and fights the Emperor.
I'm going to put it out there right on Front Street right now. I don't think he's dead.
I
never said he was dead.
That's what I'm saying. I just said that before you did.
Yeah, but I said it before that.
But it's recorded.
But
no, you didn't.
Yes, before you said it, I said it.
No, you did not.
I did.
I did. You're welcome.
Somebody, listener, figure this out. Solve this problem.
Right. Well, I'll figure it out before them because I have to go through and edit this stuff. So I'm
here's
gonna
the deal.
edit yours out regardless, so you will never hear it.
I just want something original. I just want something original. So Force Awakens, I was jazzed up, hopes high, and then it turned out to be pretty much a 100% rehash, of previous movies, which I get why they did it. In retrospect, I was fine with it. It was a fun movie. Visually, it was amazing, but it was essentially a rehash. The Last Jedi, I had my hopes very, very, very high, even higher for that one coming out.
Did me, you, and Dude go see that together?
Yeah,
I thought so.
And then they dashed those hopes because they took everything they established
and changed
for
it.
no reason, seemed to throw it all away. There are some good parts in that movie, but I just don't understand that. You only get 3 movies here, guys.
Raj did that.
Who?
Raj?
Yeah,
Rian Johnson.
What?
He changed everything.
Changed what?
The movies. The director.
Oh, you got me. You got me right there.
Raj.
Plus,
we know a guy that he listens to the podcast, actually.
Really?
Hopefully you catch that.
He does a lot of driving.
He does, and he always sends me Snapchats about Snarf Talk.
He never sends me Snapchats.
It's because he specifically told me he hated your part in the podcast.
Oh, my God.
He said, like, if you could take everything that Chris does in the podcast or in general in life out and just get rid of it, he would like that better. and then add me as a second person. He was saying like if we could have 4 Jerrys, Snarf Talk would be to the moon. I was like, Raj, I love you, man.
It's disappointing.
So I'm just
Raj, why are you hating? Mm-hmm. Why are you hating?
well.
Faux.
Apparently, he hates Kylo Ren's mask too because he made him smash that immediately.
Yeah, which is back now.
And then he's like, and then
so that's the other thing. Like, and now
so
JJ's just bringing everything back.
Yeah, he comes back and says, "Wait a minute, that mask wasn't bad. Let's weld it back together."
The only thing that JJ proved to me in the Force Awakens was that he was capable of making a, unbelievably gorgeous looking movie
yes,
with good action scenes. But story-wise, there was a little to be desired. I actually thought some of the story elements of The Last Jedi were better than The Force Awakens, just because it was a little new, something new at least. But there was a lot of bullshit in that movie too, like the whole casino planet thing and all.
I know
like
the whole casino thing was completely.
I hate to sound like one of these people, but like just leave the politics bullshit out of it. Like leave that. I don't want to say the words SJW because it drives me crazy, but like just leave it out. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's not Star Wars. It's not fucking California 2019. It's Star Wars. It's goddamn Star Wars, Jerry.
I just heard another review of the Joker recently, so we're gonna switch gears real quick. Is that all right? You done with Star Wars?
Not really, but go ahead.
Oh no, you continue. We'll talk about it in a minute then.
Okay.
What else you got with Star Wars?
Here's what I want out of this new movie: originality.
Yes.
I want them to bring back Hayden Christensen.
No.
I really want.
Are you serious?
The big fat guy that owned the diner from Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
What was his name?
I don't know.
Something like that? Rex?
I don't remember
Rex
him.
was the Jax? I don't know. The big... The guy that tells him about the clone army.
I don't remember him. I'm sorry.
I really want midichlorians.
Oh, my gosh.
I want more Hayden Christensen talking about how he killed all the sand people. I killed them all. Not just the men.
But the women. And the children.
The children. That's what I want out of this movie.
And the women. And the children.
I want Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen rolling around in a meadow.
I would take Natalie Portman back.
I love
she's
Natalie
a great
Portman.
actress, and I feel like she could lend herself to the movie.
I want more of that flying guy.
Needs to learn how to act.
I want more of the flying guy that owned that Anakin worked at his shop.
Watto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want more. I want more Sebulba. I want more pod racing.
Sebulba.
I need more pod racing.
Honestly, I like the pod racing part of it. It has nothing to do with anything in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But man, it made one hell of a game.
Yeah.
Pod racing game.
Yeah, it did.
Did you ever play that on Nintendo 64?
I did, yeah.
That was a great...
If there's not a scene in every scene of that movie, if somebody is not off to the side and then they pan down their hand and they're holding on to the milk teat of a giant cow, I'm going to be really upset.
They were more like a... What are they like?
Like a camel? No.
Yeah, like a camel horse.
Cow?
Walrus? A walrus camel?
Yeah.
Kind of like that?
Yeah.
But that would sit on their butts?
Yeah, it's weird.
Apparently.
So what's next for Star Wars? What do we do as fans?
We tried to talk about that already.
What do we do now?
We put all of our hopes and dreams into Disney Plus.
Okay.
Until another movie comes out, and then we have to go see that.
It's going to be so long, though.
It is, but I don't think it'll feel that way with the stuff that's coming out on Disney Plus. I mean, who knows? We could have 2 seasons of Mandalorian out before then.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? And then we could have a season of Obi-Wan, which I'm going to watch.
If there was just like 5 or 6 Star Wars shows, like enough that...
Holy crap. So... For the listeners of the podcast, Chris's chair literally just dropped as really fast.
Yeah.
I don't know how it did that. Did you press a button?
No.
You didn't? So your chair is breaking. I think you have the exact chair that I have at work.
Did you get it at Sam's? Because I got mine at Sam's.
No, I got it at Office Max.
Oh, fuck Office Max.
I did. What? Yeah, that's where I got
That's where
it.
the rich people go to outfit their offices.
Oh, like the Gubnet?
Yeah, the government.
Yeah. I'm part of the
poor
Gubnet.
people go to the Sam's Club.
Okay. Well, I can't go to Sam's Club at the time because they wouldn't take Visa cards.
All right.
But now I have MasterCard, and I think I can go there.
Next.
Next.
Star Wars. Done.
Real quick, I just saw or listened to, it was a podcast of this like super conservative guy that I was told to listen to because he does a Joker review in his super conservative podcast.
What's his name?
I don't even remember. I'd have to look it up on my phone, but we're recording.
Because I'm not super conservative, but there are some semi-conservative guys that I don't mind.
I haven't listened to any of him before. I might listen to him just to hear his point of view on things. He seems like he likes Batman a lot because he started talking about him, but he only likes the Nolan trilogy Batman. He knows nothing of the comic book stuff.
Oh.
So it kind of aggravated me because then he starts putting his view of the Joker into things, and he starts saying, he actually brought up some points that you did about how this Joker didn't seem smart enough to be a villain.
Right.
When, I mean, in reality, that's not a valid argument.
What? It's totally a valid argument.
Bruce Wayne had no training until he went and got training to be Batman.
Yeah, but he had a lot of training.
He
was a super intelligent.
But before that, if you look at him,
you're making a terrible argument.
No, I'm not. Look at Bruce Wayne.
The dude can't even read, the Joker guy.
He could. Yes, he can.
He could barely read.
He could read just fine.
No, that was a part of the movie. He could barely read.
He was reading.
Barely.
It doesn't matter.
I'm saying barely. Do you not hear me saying barely?
Either way, the Chris Nolan Batman, like when Bruce Wayne was a young guy, he didn't even barely know how to, like, he couldn't handle a gun. He could barely do anything. He definitely couldn't fight. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, he's being trained by Ra's al Ghul, and he's like the best fighter in the world.
You don't know how long he was being trained.
You have no idea what's going to happen in the next movie for the Joker to become whatever he's going to become.
I know he's not going to turn from a dummy dum-dum
He could be.
into a criminal mastermind.
You have no idea.
People don't change, Jerry.
The other argument here is that there's so many multiple iterations of what the Joker is, are, whatever, that, you know, this is a different take. But anyway, he was just throwing it into the whole political world of things. Just way too much. And
what was political? Was there political stuff in that movie?
Of course there was.
Like what?
Well, he claims that Thomas Wayne was made to look exactly like a young Donald Trump.
Oh, come on.
And that
was a trope character.
They were playing him as Donald Trump, and then they were saying that that's the way Donald Trump, because he is such a high-powered and wealthy businessman, that they were making him look like this, you know, it was through the eyes of the people that see Trump as this really wealthy guy that looks down on everyone else.
I didn't get a single Donald Trump vibe from Thomas Wayne in that movie.
Neither did I.
Not even a little bit.
No, neither did I. And then he said that
just because he's rich. I mean, obviously there's a political subtext of like
it was
one percenter movement,
and it was an argument about big government, like you needed to get rid of big government, and was saying, like, you know, there was too much government involvement in things, and how he was saying, you know, he brought up the fact on Joaquin Phoenix talking about how the like state aid was being taken away, or like,
oh yeah, they talk about that.
So he brings it up in the movie, and he's like, oh, didn't you hear it was defunded? And he's like that's a direct correlation with how they're defunding, and I can't remember what he says in the review, but he just tied every ounce of this movie into today's politics.
He's not wrong about that. Like, I do have issue with that too, to a certain extent, because like I don't like the fact that like there's a lot of that kind of whenever you talk about taking funding from something.
Yeah.
That's taxpayer funded. So it's funded by us. There's like a big call. There's like a big just like contingent of people like you can't do that, like crying and whining. And, you know, a lot of me is just like, well, too fucking bad, man. But when it comes to mental health, we do have a real issue.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's one thing.
There is no funding for any of that stuff.
There is no funding for it. And that is like one thing we should be funding. There are certain things that we should be funding. And I consider myself a libertarian, which is like don't fund anything, you know, like just let everything go. So like there's certain things like mentally ill people, elderly people, extremely sick people. We live in a rich enough society we can take care of those people.
So I'm not saying he's wrong on all of that stuff, but what I'm saying is that I just don't like taking movies, especially like comic book movies. So you have to remember, this is based off a comic book character. I don't like making it overly political.
Right.
Just it's fine if that's your opinion and that's the way you see it. That's fine. Everybody can view these things any way they want. Me personally, I just don't like looking at them as a political movie.
There's an ideology out there, I think, on the right that thinks like I don't know whether they're wrong or right, but they think like the idea is slowly, if we just like little by little meter this all into your entertainment, that over time
it'll change your mind.
It'll change the society. And guess what? That's exactly what happens. Yeah. And guess what? It works. But it is what it is.
It does. And
you know, it is what it is. So deal with it. Make a better argument, I guess.
I just don't understand why people want that. Like, why don't I have the point of view of wanting like a form of escapism, I guess. I've said it before on here, is that I feel like comic books and that type of movie is that for me. And I think it is for you too. Like, it's a form of like, you can forget, like going to these movies, you could forget everything on the outside world. You can forget everything, like all responsibility that you have, and you can live in this one moment. Kevin Smith talks about it a lot too, is that you can live in this one moment of something that you love and take it for what it is. Like, take it for what is given to you. So me sitting in the movie theater watching this, like, I didn't think 1 ounce about today's politics. I didn't when I was watching it.
Now that you mention this, like, I did, it is something that I noticed in the movie, watching it.
Really?
Yeah.
So you thought of Donald Trump in the movie?
Not Donald Trump, but I did notice, like, with the 1% stuff, like that, and then also, like, the mental health stuff, like in the defunding stuff. Yeah. It is stuff that crossed my mind. I'm like, they're obviously trying to make a point here. Like, it felt like they were trying to make a point, but I don't care. That's the thing. So, like, I agree with your escapism thing, but for, like, me, my whole thing is, like, I genuinely am so disenfranchised.
Right.
That I do not care at all. Like, it's all
I kind of feel the same way. I just don't.
Meaningless. It's so ridiculously meaningless.
In that form.
Yeah.
In that form, it is. Like, I don't think it's meaningless for people to care about this in the real world and to look at issues and say, like, hey, that needs to be taken care of. Or
the problem I have is, like, it's impossible.
Just don't use the movie to do that with. Don't use the movie as a platform to say we need mental health care. Like, of course we do. But I don't want to go to the movie to be told that mental health care needs funding. I want to see the Joker fuck some people up and look weird. That's what I want to see.
Right.
Okay? Like, that's it. Don't make this a bigger thing than what it is.
Yeah.
That's all.
I agree.
Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want that to be my.
But that being said, like, it's fine. Like, if you can't look at that movie, it's fine to notice that. Like, I did notice those things. But it's also fine to be able, unlike this guy is apparently able to do, look at that movie and be like, oh, yeah, okay. Well, they're making certain points, but they're just doing it for the sake of the movie.
Right.
Which is fine.
And like we had said before, you're looking at it through the eyes of him. So like we were talking about Thomas Wayne being a jerk and whatnot to him. That's the way he was perceiving it.
Right.
But to the rest of society and the rest of the world, there could be other people that are in his exact same situation that see him differently. Like his mom was in love with him completely. She worked with him. She was, now granted, she was completely insane.
Maybe.
We don't really know. Yeah. Again, we don't know if she was or not.
I like your larger point though, which is just like, don't examine that movie in that lens.
Exactly.
Just don't do it.
No.
Like, find other content. But they can't, because that guy has got to make a show. That guy is making his living on politics, and he's got to get a show out.
Yes.
And he's got to get 1 million hits. And how do you get 1 million hits?
Well,
by reviewing the Joker and making it political.
Because the Joker was the biggest movie out at the time, and of course you're going to make.
I'm completely disenfranchised from politics. That's why I've completely stepped out. There's just so much stupidity. There's too many stupid people. I can't deal with it anymore.
I know. And it's my argument with a lot of it, or my problem with a lot of it, is that it's just, if you say you're a Republican, it is so one-sided. You've got blinders on to things that, you know, anybody could clearly see is like either wrong or right or whatever. Like, it's just so one-sided. You only see what you want to see. Same with the left. Like, with a lot of liberals, they only see what they want to see. And at this point in time, it's just been so separated by that, to where it's like, I don't believe any of you.
No.
You know, like, I don't believe any of you, because you're not having a true opinion on anything.
Right.
Like, nothing at all. Even a movie. You're so stuck in your ways and so, like, tunnel visioned that you're going to take a movie and say that, well, they obviously put Thomas Wayne as Donald Trump. Are you in? No, they didn't. And maybe they would have said, oh, that guy kind of looks like Donald Trump after the fact, even though he doesn't in the slightest, besides he's a tall white man.
But even if they did, so like, what?
Who cares? Who cares if they do? Donald Trump was also in Home Alone, and he was a dick to Macaulay Culkin. He didn't help him in the slightest, and he was looking for his child.
Did help him. No, he does help him.
Does he?
Like, he's nice to Macaulay Culkin.
I didn't think he was.
Yeah, he is. He is nice to him.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure, yes.
Does he give him like a 20 and boop him on the nose?
I think he gives him like some Trump, like a Trump 20. Trump's face on it.
Okay. Well,
wouldn't it be fucking crazy if Trump got his face on some money?
Money?
People would go insane. Think how many people would burn.
They'd revolt like
Think how many
money.
people would burn money.
Revolt on money.
No, I think I just had this conversation the other day, and I really honestly believe what's the problem is, and this is obvious. I mean, this is obvious. But the problem is that people are completely, all of a sudden, incapable of listening to somebody else's opinion.
Yes.
And not determining that, oh, I disagree with you and you're 100% wrong and therefore you're evil.
Right.
And I'm 100% right and therefore I'm virtuous. Mm-hmm. That's the problem.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't, just because, like, people can have different opinions to you. Like, there is no right and wrong. There isn't. It doesn't exist.
No.
Like, you're not right. If you're listening to this right now and you think you're right about something, you're not. End of story.
It's just your opinion.
There's nothing that, unless it's like a fact that is, ridiculous. But no, I mean, there really isn't, politically anyway. There's no right and wrong. Like, just because you believe that, like, I'll take an easy topic, like, because I think anybody that listens to this podcast is completely fine with, like, I'm not even gonna say anything because it's so because how stupid is that? Like, I can't even give an example because it'll disenfranchise so many people.
Yeah.
For something that there is no right or wrong answer to.
There isn't a right or wrong answer. It's an opinion.
And if you think you're right, that's fine, but that doesn't mean you're right. And you can't look at the other person that disagrees with you and say you're wrong and you're an evil human being and you're horrible and you're wrong and you deserve all your other good qualities are garbage now. And because of one little thing.
And what's that stem from? So, media and emotion. So
it stems from that guy with that Joker review. That's what it stems
from. It does. All of the media is pumping you full of that. First of all, like, of
because it's a
either it's
entertainment show.
It's either right or wrong, and that's what they continuously will tell you. And then you believe that so much is that you are letting 100% of your emotion drive your opinion, which is not right. I mean, everybody has an emotion, but you might feel bad about something, but it could be the right way of going about something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whatever you're going to do, like you'd be like, man, I really don't want to, like in anybody's day job, you can be like, man, I really don't want to do this. This is going to suck, but you have to do it. It's the same with making political decisions or making any sort of decision. Like, man, this is really going to suck. This might take away from a lot of people, but we have to do it in order to like propel this other thing. Then we'll come back and help that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or compromise,
like,
for God's
and
sakes.
then there's the other part, which is compromise. Yes.
Right.
Like, let's compromise with each other
Nobody will
instead of
compromise.
saying only my way is
Right.
the right way. Whatever. I didn't mean to get that political.
No,
into
and
this.
the other thing too that I mean, one more thing is that there's this other thing that you cannot like be friends with somebody who disagrees with you. Like that's a big thing now. Like you can't because they're evil, and how could you? And they're horrible people. They're garbage.
Yeah.
This is a big thing that came out with Ellen and George W. Bush.
And that was great.
And there was a whole huge controversy, and I thought the whole thing was ridiculous. But I thought it was great of her. She came out and she's like,
Right away.
She came out and she's like, I like him, and I'm friends with him.
Right. And she specifically says, like, two people that don't share the same opinion can still be friends and sit next to each other. She's like, there's nothing wrong with that.
And what opinions do they not share? Like, first of all, like George W. Bush was not a right-wing extremist.
No, but it's just because he is labeled as a Republican
Right.
and she is labeled as a Democrat, liberal. I mean, you know, as far left as you could get is what I would assume. Maybe she's not, but
I don't know.
I would just assume that she's labeled that way. And they were sitting next to each other, having fun, drinking beer, laughing at a game.
Like I read something that was like how could she do that? You know, he's a Republican, so he's against gay marriage, and she's gay, right?
That's not true.
And I'm like, first of all, I don't know that he's against gay marriage.
Nobody knows that.
Obama was against gay marriage.
Right.
I mean, he was when he ran for president.
I know. His entire 8 years.
Right. And so, no, he changed his thing later.
He did?
On. Yeah, definitely. But when he was originally running,
is he the one who got it? He's the one who overturned all of that and got it approved to where the gay marriage happened?
I don't know if he did, but it happened during his term, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, first of all, I don't know that he's against that. And second of all, just because he thinks that doesn't mean he can't be friends with her. And third of all, just because he thinks that, if he even thinks that, doesn't mean she can't be friends with him. Like, come on.
Correct.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's that easy. It's that easy to do things.
And guess what? It doesn't mean that she's right or he's right.
Right.
Like, just because everybody agrees with her doesn't mean that he's wrong.
Right. We don't agree on most things we talk about.
You know, that's true.
And I hate your guts for it. But we still sit across from each other
Jerry.
every week and do this show.
Yeah. That's what makes it great.
And we're saving the world. One episode at a
One
time.
Conversation at a time.
Yeah.
We need to get back into the meat and potatoes because we got a lot to do.
We've got a lot of what you're watching.
We do. And I had two more bits of news real quick.
Oh, all right. Okay.
HBO Max is coming out with all the shows. Everything.
Really?
Yeah. They're just like blowing up the world.
Okay.
They are getting all the DC movies, which, I mean, obviously we knew they were getting DC app, but they're gonna launch with all the DC movies, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah. They just struck a deal. They're gonna have 100% everything Rick and Morty.
Oh, they are.
At least the older episodes.
Right, the ones that are already out.
And South Park, all of them.
Whoa.
Big deal. That'll bring a lot of subscribers, and a lot of subscribers that probably already would be subscribing, to be honest. But I'm all in for HBO Max. I love it. I was the longest time resistant to HBO. I didn't get it till about a year ago. I love it, man.
I really like it too. They were coming out with some really great stuff.
Yeah. And then the DC app I love, obviously. Fold them two together.
Yes.
It actually saves me money. It's great.
I know.
So that was one thing.
So they're for sure getting rid of the DC app then?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be folded in.
Well, I know, but so if I already have the DC app and I already have HBO Now, are they going to just consolidate that and give me one app?
Yes.
And then I don't have to, like make a new subscription.
I believe that is true.
So they're just going to start charging me the correct
I don't know how
fee for HBO Max.
I don't know how it's going to work exactly. My guess is...
But it will save me money for sure.
I'm
hoping
they'll credit back our annual plan towards HBO Max.
Yeah, are they doing the $14.99?
I don't know.
Because that's what they were doing for HBO.
I believe so, but I'm not sure.
But either way, it'll save me because I was, what was it, like $76?
Yeah, for a year.
For a year with DC.
Something like that.
Headline right here says DC Universe tells subscribers HBO Max is friend, not foe.
Yeah. Big news. John Witherspoon died.
Passed away
age
at 77 today. Wasn't it today?
It was today. Yeah, I believe so.
Morning.
Today or yesterday or something. I love that dude.
He was in Friday.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff, but I absolutely...
you guys would all know him.
Everybody loved the movie Friday, but I hit it. We hit it right perfectly age-wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I loved that movie when I was a kid.
There's a scene where... Isn't there a scene where he's like putting hot sauce on a burrito?
Yeah, yeah.
In a car, he says something like, and I'm going to put a little dab of hot sauce on my burrito. I don't remember why I remember that. It was funny, but...
He's the dad.
Yeah.
In Friday. I love that movie, and he was a great actor, and I thought he was really funny. And it was sad to see that. And pretty young, too, 77.
77 is not old in today's day and age.
So that happened. And the other thing I was going to mention, because I had it on my list to talk about for a while now, even though we don't have a lot of time here because we got to do our Watchmen stuff. But
don't spoil it.
Somebody had asked about Apple Plus. They wanted our take on Apple Plus, if something we'd be interested in subscribing in.
Yeah.
My first of all, I don't even know if I can get it because I don't have an Apple TV. So I don't know if you can get it on a Fire Stick or not. But
I don't know. I guess I don't know that either.
If you can't get it on a Fire Stick, I ain't gonna get it because I'm not buying an Apple TV.
And I'm an Apple guy. I like Apple.
I have an Apple phone and iPads, but I'm not gonna buy an Apple TV just to watch Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, I'm
not gonna sling it from my iPad to my TV. I'm not gonna do it.
I probably won't either. You could do that though. I mean, if there was a specific show that you wanted to watch, you could basically just.
If they allow you to do it to a Fire Stick, yeah.
Well, or my computer or something.
Yeah.
From my computer
I don't
to the
watch
TV.
Programming on my phone or my iPad. A lot of people do.
No.
They commute, but I don't.
I don't at all. But if they allow you to, I could put it on my computer and then just run an HDMI cord to my TV if I was that desperate to see a show. But at this point, I'm not. I'm so overloaded with content as it is. Unless they have something that it just blows me away that nobody else has, I don't see myself watching it.
Now it's launching at $4.99, which is cheap.
That's cheap.
That
is cheap.
They're talking about bundling it with Apple Music, Beats Music or whatever, which a lot of people subscribe to. And
I got rid of it.
Yeah, it's not good.
I got rid of it for
YouTube Music, which is way better.
I did. You sold me on it, and I like it.
So I just don't think it's going to have nearly as big an impact as people think.
I mean, I haven't even seen.
Well, that's what I have.
I haven't even seen what's coming out on there.
I have a list. So they're going to spend about $1 billion on original programming in the next couple of years.
That's not enough.
They have. Here's some shows that stick out. There's a ton on here. That is one thing they're going to do is a lot of original content. I don't even know if they're going to have. I mean, I'm sure they'll have other content. But it's going to be all original content.
I like original stuff.
Me too.
I really do.
As far as original series, they're going to have Carpool Karaoke, the series. I'm assuming that's like a James Corden thing.
Stupid.
Planet of the Apps reality competition.
Oh, I hate that.
I'm not going to go through all of these. The only ones that jump out at me is a show called Dickinson, which is a period comedy.
With...
About Emily Dickinson?
Emily Dickinson, yeah.
That Ghost Rider reboot is coming there. They have a morning show.
Okay, that's what I remember is the Ghostwriter thing. I remember talking about something that was going to be on Apple Podcasts.
Well, and that's the other one is the morning show. It's the new Jennifer Aniston show. Jennifer Aniston's on it. It's like a morning TV show.
Who gives a crap?
Co-host is
Courtney
Got
Cox.
Me Too'd.
Courtney Cox.
No. And then apparently they own Oprah because all the Oprah stuff's going to be on there. Oprah's Book Club. And then apparently they got the Peanuts because Snoopy in Space is going to be a show. And then there's a couple other Peanuts-based shows. And like there's a ton of other stuff, but nothing that I've ever heard of. A Brie Larson drama series.
Oh, yes. So the Brie Larson...
CIA series.
It's a CIA series. I was just listening to the writer... one of the writers on that this morning and yesterday morning on that writing podcast that I listened to, she said they haven't, they're not releasing the name of it yet. They're calling it something in the writer's room right now, and they think it's really cool. And one of the host of the show, his name is Ben Blacker, he said, is it called F. Brie? And I was like, oh, man, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Anyway.
And then there's an untitled Oprah Winfrey Prince Harry mental health docuseries.
Nope. That doesn't sound interesting at all.
And an untitled Simon Kinberg and David Wallace science fiction series. Simon Kinberg was a producer and screenwriter that did a bunch of the X-Men movies, and he did Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He did the Sherlock Holmes stuff.
Is he one of the guys that got Me Too'd?
I don't think so.
It must have failed if it did happen.
He did The Martian. He made The Martian.
Ooh, that's
which
a
he
good
won
movie.
an Academy Award for. So that's interesting.
If you haven't seen that movie, The Martian,
his directorial debut was
see it.
X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Oh,
So they're probably not excited about that right now.
no.
And then
Although I haven't seen it, I can't technically say it's bad.
I bought it and I still haven't seen it.
Give it to me.
We got a half a dozen movies that I don't know anything about. So
Right.
that's what Apple Plus is. I don't think it's going to be a major player yet. Could be, but I don't see it happening for Apple Plus. I don't know that there's the penetration in the market for Apple TVs that there is for like Fire Sticks.
No, I don't believe so.
All right, let's get on with it.
It's not. There's nothing on there that stands out to me. And if you have to have an Apple TV already in order to have Apple Plus, it's a fail.
Yeah, if they're making it Apple TV box exclusive, it will not work.
No.
But if they make it as an app that for $4 I can add to my Fire Stick, I'll probably get it.
Yeah.
If there's a show I want to see. I mean, I'm not going to just get it for no reason. But if that Simon Kinberg comes out and he's got a sci-fi series that I think is interesting,
yes,
yeah, I'll absolutely pay $4.
Especially for $4.99, $5 a month.
I will do that for that.
Yes. Okay.
And maybe for the what's her name, Jennifer Aniston show.
No, you wouldn't. You're not going to watch it.
I'll watch it.
Why?
I like Jennifer Aniston.
A daytime morning show with Jennifer Aniston.
No. It's a drama show. In the show, she's on a daytime show.
Oh, it still doesn't sell me on it at all. Not in the slightest.
Watch the trailer sometime.
She looks. She's done for.
Yeah.
So are we getting into what are we watching?
What we're watching. So we'll start with the one we both have been watching that we can talk about, right?
Well, there's two of them.
There's two?
There's two of them that we've been watching together.
Oh, yeah, there is two.
There's one we've finished and one we've just begun.
Oh, that's true. Which one would you like to talk about first?
Let's talk about the one we finished.
Okay. So we both watched the show Living with Myself.
And it's a Paul Rudd show.
Paul Rudd on Netflix.
In a Netflix original.
Right.
They call it a comedy.
Yeah, definitely was a comedy.
I guess.
Kind of a dark comedy.
It's very dark.
It's a dark comedy.
Because it's very...
Which is my favorite genre.
I agree.
Dark comedy.
I agree. It's very, personal, about him, rightfully so. So the whole show is based around Paul Rudd being kind of a schlubby dude, kind of falling into a depression, stuck in a rut.
Very non-Paul Ruddish.
Yeah, very non-Paul Ruddish. He's just kind of miserable in his job and doesn't like what's going on. He's very lackadaisical and not good in his marriage. Just, stuck in a like a midlife crisis basically. And then he finds out, and there's a certain guy at work that's just nailing it, like getting all of the big jobs and doing everything right. And he's wondering why. And the guy tells him that he goes to this little like
Korean spa.
Yeah,
thing.
like a rub and tug, and gets redone. Basically, he doesn't. I don't think he goes into depth of what
he does
actually
not tell
happens.
him anything about it. Nobody ever does.
No, nobody says anything. I thought a really cool part was when Paul Rudd first pulls up outside of this massage parlor that looks like it's basically closed, but
In a strip mall, yeah.
in a strip mall,
Not a strip club.
no. Tom Brady walks out,
Yeah.
and he's like Tom Brady, like, is that you? He's like, how do you come here often? And he says 6 times.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that's how many Super Bowls they've won.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. Anyway, so then he goes in there, and they basically clone yourself. They clone you, and they basically download all of your memories, all of your thoughts, everything that's ever happened in your life. They like I said,
Fix your DNA.
download it, but they fix your DNA and
Renew
make you
it.
better.
Yeah.
They make you a better human being. In Paul Rudd's instance, though, his old self woke up,
Well, and
didn't die.
Nobody knows that they kill the original version of it.
Right.
These aren't spoilers. There might be some spoilers in this. We'll
I
try
guess.
not to. These aren't spoilers. That happens in like the first episode.
Yeah, the very first
I think
episode.
in the trailer it happens.
The very first scene is him waking up in the
Right.
woods. You don't know what's
So
going on.
I don't think anybody is aware that that's happening, but he finds out because he wakes up. So
And then he goes back and finds the place, and both of them end up showing back at the massage place. They sit down
yeah,
with the owners and the people that run it, and they're like, "Oh man, like
Yeah.
you're both here." They're like, "Yeah, you're not supposed to do that."
right,
And they've just been ditching bodies out in the woods. That's the part that nobody knows. Like
right.
they didn't know what to do with these bodies.
There's a funny scene later. I don't really want to spoil it, but somebody's digging up a body, and he's like, "Oh man, is that Tom Brady?"
yeah. That's so funny. But yeah, so that's the basis.
The point of the show is they both come back and they got to figure out how they're going to live together, who's going to be with his wife.
Yeah.
There's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of dark things that happen. There's a lot of funny things that happen. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of that whole thing.
What I really liked about it is that it's really in his head, right? But it's in his head from 2 different perspectives, even though it's the same person.
Right.
And you get the perspective of him being the schlubby one that's been losing out. And then all of a sudden now I'm losing out to myself.
Right.
And it was like such a blow to him to be like, no, I'm not going to let myself take my wife and my job away from me. And it really was the spur to him to get him to like kind of like man up and do what he needed to do. Like, I need to be a better me. And the only person that could do that is me.
Right.
It's just wild because it's 2 Paul Rudds. And I fucking love Paul Rudd, by the way. Like, he's an amazing person.
American
what
do you call it?
Treasure. Yeah.
Is he Canadian or American?
He's actually British.
No, he's not.
Yes, absolutely.
Is Paul Rudd British?
His parents, at least one of his parents, is from Britain. He grew up in Kansas City, but he grew up
American.
Yeah, he's American.
He's from fucking Kansas City, man. That's apple pie.
He is. It's barbecue.
He was born in New Jersey,
but he grew up
2 British parents, but he's born in the United States, which makes him an American.
And he was talking about, the reason I know this is because I watch. It's called Hot Ones. It's where this guy Sean Evans does interviews with people, but they eat hot wings.
Okay.
Have you ever watched this?
No.
Gosh, you miss out on so many good things.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hot Ones is the greatest. He interviews very famous people, and they eat hot wings together, and they go through this like line of hot sauce. So it goes from like mild to extremely hot. There's different sauces, and they go through and they eat these wings. But he asks some questions all through it, and they just start like dying as you go through. It's amazing to watch. And Paul Rudd was one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Okay.
Because he's like such a great guy. It seems like, and he always wants to be like charismatic, but he was dying inside. And he was trying to be vegan. He said he's trying to be like more vegan and not eat meat. So he did cauliflower wings, they're called. It's basically just
I just lost all my respect
fried
for Paul
cauliflower. Rudd. But you should see
I
him.
love fried cauliflower. Don't get me wrong.
You should see him eat these things. It's hilarious. And he never grabs any water or milk. And he's like one of the first people on the show to do that. There's only like 3 people on the show total out of 126 episodes or something to ever not drink anything. Holly Berry was one, him and another guy. I can't remember. But anyway, he was really funny. And he was talking about his British parents and growing up with like British food in his house in Kansas City. He's like, all my neighbors are outside like barbecuing and we're in eating, like having tea and dipping crumpets. But
tea and crumpets.
Yes.
So
anyway,
you like the show?
I did. I'm down for anything with a dance number in it. And at one point there was a choreographed dance number.
Yeah.
And the coolest part,
but it wasn't like it made sense in the plot.
Absolutely, it made sense that they were dancing together. And the coolest part about that was the very next episode, because so you see them dance together in this episode. The very next episode, which I believe was the season finale, you see that exact same dance episode from a different perspective.
So
the other Paul Rudd.
It's very interesting how this show is made, because
and I was like,
every episode, they like the next episode is the same episode, but from a different person's vantage point, which they've done before in a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I've never quite seen it done this successfully.
Yeah.
Like they've done it, and they've done it with different people, but like, and there's a little bit, don't get me wrong, there's a little bit every time they do it that you're like, oh,
like really,
like just move the story forward. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
But it melts away pretty quickly, and because while they introduce it like that, the episode's completely different.
It is, and you understand why they have to do it that way.
Right.
You understand that they have to bring back that certain point in order for it to jump.
It's the best I've ever
forward.
seen that trope work.
Yeah.
In a show, whenever I've seen it, which it's common. I mean, it's a common thing now, but
overall, I think it's very great acting on Paul Rudd's part. I think he does a really great job. He's playing himself, but again, it's 2 different versions of himself in that show. So I don't know. It was really cool to see.
He's great.
Him acting with himself in the same scenes was really great. The finale part I thought was great.
Yeah.
Where
it has a great ending, and like I will say this, like I think he's great in it. I love Paul Rudd. To me, he's not the standout of this, but he's very, very good. What I really enjoyed about this was like it has a chance to make a lot of annoying, tropey plot moves, and it never does. Like it always takes an interesting path, which I think is cool. But and more so than that, like there's like the huge revelation at the end, right? So
yes,
this is a spoiler, and it's not a major spoiler, but skip ahead 2 minutes if you don't want to hear it. There's kind of a major revelation in that where she decides she wants to be with the clone, right?
Yeah,
and they go off together, and like that could be done a certain way. But it's brilliant to me to turn it back out and be like, oh, like I'm a different person.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I'm a miserable person too. Like
I've never even thought of it that way, but you're right. That's exactly what it was.
And I don't think I've ever seen anything like that portrayed that way in a show. It would be so easy for that show, for that to work out, or
I was so caught up
for her to be a one-dimensional character. But that moment made her a multi-dimensional character, where it took something so simple, and I think a lot of it's acting, which I'll get to in a second, but took something so simple and made it super interesting.
Yeah.
Like immediately, that made that show 100 times more interesting.
And I really got caught up with the fact that she was leaving to go with the clone,
which was super fucked up.
And here's what got me is that, again, this is all the same guy. So he shares all of the same experiences.
It's not a clone, really. It is a clone.
A direct copy of you.
Yeah. with all of your memory. It's you're the same person.
So when she leaves and goes with him, I'm like, I hate that. I hate seeing people like cheat on each other.
Yeah, me too. That's my biggest pet peeve.
I don't like seeing it. I don't like watching it. It's something that I just cringe over. And when she left to go do that, I felt that same way, even though it's the same freaking guy. Yeah. Like, that's what I kept trying to tell myself. I'm like, wait a minute. What would you do in this situation? And Amy, I said this to Amy before I was watching the show. She didn't really watch much of it, but she was sitting there watching some of the show, and I paused it and I was like, what would you do? I was like, if I was cloned or something like that, and there was like a better version of me here, I was like, what would you do? Who would you pick? She's like, I don't know. You? I was like, which me? Right. Of course you're going to pick me. Right. But which one? Like, isn't that a really hard decision to make? Wouldn't you think? Like, especially if the other guy's alive. If the one was dead,
I liked that in the beginning. Like, it was just unequivocal for her. She's like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Yeah. And then and that kind of made sense in the beginning.
And then she turns around, she goes that direction, and I just thought they didn't need to take it this way, but they made that interesting turn where like they had like really awkward sex, and then like she just realized, I don't like you and I'm not interested.
Right.
Like, I'm a different person, even though they have the same memories. That's what's crazy.
It stopped. Go.
Sax.
I think that works.
Sorry, we had a break there and I had to say sex at the very beginning, weirdly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was just interesting choice to make with that character, and from then on, I really loved the show. Before that point, okay, before that episode, I'm like, I enjoy this show, but I don't. It's fine, it's great. I liked it,
right.
but the last two episodes I really dug in. I really, really enjoyed, and I liked the last episode. I liked how it ends.
Yeah,
and I think it ends on a funny and fun and a positive note that takes a dark show and it takes a positive turn.
It does, and it's strange, and it leaves you asking like, what in the world can they possibly go from here? Like, where are they going to go? It leaves you with
actually, if they don't make another, it kind of leaves you pretty satisfied.
I think they will, though.
Oh, they definitely will. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't.
But I think it's doing very well for Netflix.
Paul Rudd on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's going to do well. I think everybody has Netflix. Even Marley was watching it.
And Amy watched
independent of me. Like, I watched the whole series, and I walked in the other day. She was folding laundry, and she was watching it. And I'm like, you're watching a show? Yeah. She does not watch anything. Unless it's like the WGN news.
Neither does Amy. Amy watches nothing but The Office.
Yeah.
She constantly watches The Office, which is great. I love The Office, but there's just so much other stuff out there.
So my biggest standout for this show by far was the wife, who I just absolutely thought was amazing.
Okay. She's great.
She was, I don't know if I've seen her in anything ever before.
I never have.
She's an unbelievably good actress, I think. She's just like super realistic and real. She doesn't feel like there's an actor playing a role. I don't know why, but she just felt so authentic.
Yeah, I think you're right. I never
and
really
maybe
thought
it's
of her
just
that
like
way,
I really like Irish accents. I don't know, but
she's good.
She just like I was enamored by her.
So you're very attracted.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, what are you thinking here? Are you leaving your wife?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, good. Whew.
Celebrity.
Dodged a bullet there.
Just a little celebrityness.
Yeah, I get it.
No, I really thought she was great.
She is very good, and it is very, like you said, it's very like real. She's like a real person in that show. It's not acting at all. And I again, like, I agree with her choices on what she did. And I hate agreeing with that because it's like
terrible.
It is terrible.
But like, there's such a satisfying when she comes back and they do that dance in the house. It's like so satisfying.
That exactly. And that's, as soon as that started happening, I was like, oh, I love this show.
And I actually disliked the turn afterwards where he
I
gets
did
like
too.
all upset and
Yeah, I
takes
did
off,
too.
which is understandable. But like at that moment, just be like,
I'm
gonna let this go.
Yeah, I felt
You know?
like they put so much effort into like mending some things right away just by that dance number.
Absolutely.
That you just threw all of that away.
I don't
understand why you would do that.
I didn't feel realistic about that part.
I thought it was funny that he loses his door.
I never saw where that happened.
I was like, when he was on the way to the bar to go confront everybody, and I don't remember
Must
why
have fallen asleep during that part.
I don't remember why he pulled over and had the door open. He pulled over for some reason, had his door open, and he literally just got back into the car. I think it was his twin, I'd call him a twin, but the clone is the one who sped by him really fast and took his door off.
Oh, I never saw that part. I must have fallen asleep.
Oh yeah, and
Because
then
I was watching it at night.
so then by the time he gets to the bar, his clone's already up there telling stories and whatnot. And then, yeah, I think that is the way it went because they were arguing on who was going to go to this job thing. This like to meet up with friends and have some drinks, and like his wife was there. And that was the first episode where he walks up and says, like,
Yeah.
he finishes the story.
Yeah.
And everybody looks back like, holy shit, you have a twin brother?
Yeah.
Why would you automatically think? Well, I guess you wouldn't automatically think clone either, would you?
No, I think you would think twin brother first.
Yeah. So that's a very good show.
So it's a good show. Check it out. I think I'm happy recommending it. I mean,
I think
it's
so.
nothing that's like
First few episodes,
world changing.
No, but first few episodes, you're really gonna have to get through.
Yeah, they're not bad. by any
It
means,
builds.
but-
It builds as it goes along, though.
Yeah.
I would say each episode gets better than the last.
Before we get to the big one, is there any other small ones you got?
I watched El Camino.
Oh, that's a big one, right?
I guess it's kind of big.
We don't have that much time.
Breaking Bad movie. All I'm gonna say is like it's worth the watch if you are a big time fan of Breaking Bad. You can't watch it if you haven't watched all of Breaking Bad because you will not understand what's going on or why he's in the position he's in.
So I am a big fan of Breaking Bad. I keep looking at it and I keep thinking, I just have no interest in watching this movie.
Oh, really?
Like I just don't feel like I need to revisit that world at all.
So
I love Better Call Saul. Absolutely love that show. But I just every time I scroll by that movie, I just think this seems like a lot of work, and I don't feel like I need to go back there.
yeah, and it was kind of. I had to watch it like on two different occasions
I just
because
don't know
I fell asleep.
who's clamoring for it, but
And it was not what I was expecting, or maybe it was what I was expecting. I guess it just
they were who we thought they were.
yes, it's exactly like that. He wasn't the best. It was Jesse Pinkman doing Jesse Pinkman things,
He was never my favorite character there.
and yeah, it is. It's exactly what you think it is. It's the same stuff all over again without Walter White in it. So it was nothing groundbreaking. If you want some closure on Jesse Pinkman, then watch the movie.
It's just been so long. Like they waited too long. Like 2 years out from the show,
Yeah,
I'd be all over it. 8 years out from the show. I don't know how long we are out from the show. It's been a while. It's been a minute.
7, yeah, 6
I don't even
7.
Yeah,
at least.
I'm just like not interested at this point. But I
and-
love Better Call Saul.
And honestly,
It's the best show on TV.
I don't think it matters if you see it or not.
Better
Thought it was
better than
okay,
Breaking Bad.
but it wasn't that great.
Anything else?
No, just those two, and then the next one that we're going to
Okay.
talk about.
I have started Silicon Valley's back on HBO.
I haven't started it. I saw it, but I saw that it was back. I
It's
haven't.
just it's Silicon Valley, man. It's one of the best shows on TV.
Okay.
Hilarious, laugh out loud, funny.
Is it still that good without what's his name in it?
Yeah, he's not been in for a couple seasons. Are you that
Well,
far behind?
Yeah, I haven't seen the last 2 seasons, so I need to go rewatch
man.
last season and then this one.
The worst thing about Silicon Valley is that it's over in a half an hour.
Yeah.
I
It's
love that
fast.
show, man. I love that show.
I always have as well.
It's so funny. I love Kumail Nanjiani and Martin Starr.
Yeah, Martin Starr is my favorite.
And Tom, I can't remember his name now.
Hiddleston.
Not Tom Hiddleston.
No, I know who the main guy.
Yeah.
Is it Tom?
No.
I don't think it's Tom.
He's in that Zombieland movie, too.
He is.
Yeah. He plays like, kind of looks like Jesse Eisenberg. That's why he's in it.
He does look like Jesse Eisenberg. He's a really good actor, though, and he's like very neurotic all the time.
Yeah, he's like manic. If you listen to him on podcasts, he's like
what
that.
podcast is he on?
He's been on Nerdist a bunch, or now
maybe I've heard
Heidi
him on
Tensi.
Nerdist. Yeah.
And he is like not capable of not doing a bit.
Yeah.
He's like a manic child.
Depressive.
No, like so full of energy. He's always doing a bit, bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
He's great. I like him a lot.
I like him too, and especially in Silicon Valley.
Always doing funny voices. Like, I don't think he has an actual human personality. Yeah. He's just so like a combination of
insane,
chaotic comedy.
Okay. Yeah, I'll need to check that out. But I do have 2 seasons to watch, but it won't take long.
No. There's only like maybe 8 episodes in the season. They're half an hour each. So
yep.
So that's good. So the big one we're here to discuss is the maybe biggest comic book property of all time, possibly.
I would think so.
Graphic novel, I should say.
Yeah.
It is the only graphic novel / comic book, I believe, to make it on the top 100 greatest literature of the 20th century list by multiple
and it's up there.
Iterations. It's very high up there. It's an entry point for anybody interested in the world of graphic novels or comic books. It's one that we highly recommend. It's hard to
ingest because it's
good.
Very wordy and political.
But it's amazing.
But it really is amazing.
It's the best of the form.
It's a journey, man. Yeah. It's like a journey through this political landscape of like deceit and like crazy people, but you're doing it with old superheroes, and an insane like depressed guy, Rorschach. It's nuts. It's awesome. I would suggest anybody read it.
We're talking about Watchmen, of course. Written by Alan Moore in the early 80s.
Yep.
It was made to a movie by Zack Snyder. Before DC Universe Zack Snyder, he made a Watchmen movie.
He did.
Didn't closely follow the comic book, but
like widely shit on.
I really enjoyed it. It was a beautiful.
I know.
Unbelievably visually stunning movie.
I think
well
so as
acted, great cast. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but it was
Watchmen purists will shit on this movie because it's not exactly what the comic book was.
So now there's a new show on HBO, Watchmen.
First off, if you want exactly what the comic book was, just go back and read the comic book.
I mean, there's also been several other comic book runs recently. There's been Doomsday Clock before Watchmen. There's been a bunch of DC crossover events. There's been a lot going on with Watchmen over the last, I want to say,
and Doomsday Clock
8
isn't
years.
even done yet.
Yeah, and there's there's ongoing books. There's before Watchmen was huge. It crossed over.
I've been waiting for the last issue of Doomsday Clock to come out for like a year and a half.
Yeah,
because I got the first 5 issues and I caught up, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait. And then a year and a half later, I'm still waiting for that 12th issue. It's just 12 issues.
Yeah.
To come out, and
I haven't read any of that. I've read some of the before Watchmen stuff. I've not read Doomsday Clock.
So Doomsday Clock really intrigues me.
Yeah,
it's built the suspense up over these last 5 issues that I'm like, and I've seen the covers. They came out with the covers of all of them, so I can see what all of them look like now, and it's intriguing. I want to read the rest of them. I will read the rest of them. I will tell you about them on this show whenever it finally comes out. The last issue is supposed to come out, I believe, either late November, beginning of December. So as soon as that's out, I'll read them all and let you know.
So the show came out. It's been widely anticipated.
So is this a weekly thing? So it came out last week then.
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Is it a Friday release or
Sunday? Yeah, I think all Game of Thrones or all HBO
That's
stuff
right.
is
You're right.
Sundays. So it comes out on Sundays. There's been 2 episodes out. Of course, if you haven't figured this out yet, we're talking about The Watchmen.
Watchmen.
The HBO series. It's been getting all the press, and it's been getting huge praise from critics.
Yes. By critics, it's getting praise,
So,
and I can completely understand why. So it starts
Jerry,
off...
Watchmen, go. What's your take?
Well, it starts off right away with the Tulsa race riots that happened, or the race like war or murders, basically. It's
Right.
like the KKK came into Tulsa and murdered a bunch of black people. And this is exactly what happened. This is a true...
Which I've never heard of. Personally, I've
And
never heard of it.
Right. So a lot of people have not heard of this. So it was basically erased from our history.
Yeah.
Like they don't teach
legitimately.
it. Like, yes, this is a real thing that actually happened. And so this is a really good thing that Watchmen does. Watchmen in the comic book and the movie and in this TV show have a really good crossover between real life history and its own world.
Yeah. So, of course, the Watchmen book crossed over a lot to the World War II era, Soviet era, nuclear bombs. It was basically about the nuclear age.
And they do a really good job of that, of creating its own world, but tying it into real world things that you're familiar with. So this is actual history that happened. That's how it starts off. And then this little boy's like taken away with his parents, trying not to get killed. They end up with this note. And then it goes from there, like a note that it's like on the back. It says like "Save this boy" or something, and it goes from there.
Which the beginning, that opening, I thought was awesome. Like it was super captivating to me, and the whole story behind it. When I found out that it was based on reality, I immediately went on. I read all about it on Wikipedia and all kinds of stuff. I was fascinated to read all that and learn it. In real, like in Oklahoma, this happened, and then they really gave reparations to people that were but it sets the tone
right away.
And this is Damon Lindelof, who did Lost.
Yes,
and he's done a bunch of other stuff.
It looks great.
It's a very nice looking show, but he sets the tone that this show is about race. I mean, that's what it is.
And politics. I mean,
race and politics, but essentially it's about race and white power movement and the KKK
and the police.
It's the police brutality, stuff like that. And it is political.
So, and here's a big thing about this. I don't know. So there's a main character. We know the main character. I believe her name's Abby.
Yeah, and she's been around in tons of stuff. It's Regina King, right?
Is it King?
Regina King? Yeah.
So she
was in American Crime, which is a really good show that was on a couple years ago. And I think she's great in the show.
She's
really
phenomenal.
Good.
She's really good.
And I like her character. It's weird because they bring back that aspect of like there being just kind of like unpowered, regular, masked vigilante superheroes. But in this context, they basically are now working for the police.
Yes. So she is, and she's doing that she's hiding. So she was shot by the 7th Cavalry.
Well, all the police are hiding. So
all of them are hiding their faces. So they're all hiding their faces so that nobody knows who they are. So therefore you can't target them, because the 7th Cavalry is this other group. They all look like Rorschach. They wear Rorschach masks, and they're basically like
some undetermined reason.
Well, I believe it's because, so at the end of Watchmen, Rorschach gives his journal to a journalist or to a news agency, and they go through I'm assuming they went through his journal, and he talks about like all of in his journal, he like had talked about a lot of the corruption that goes on in politics and the corruption that goes on in media and whatnot. And then I can't, and in the police force, like he describes corruption in the police force. And I think the media had done something with that to twist it. This is completely my take, but I know for a fact that they had read his journal, and his journal said this because it's from the comic book, and they did it in the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
But
So the idea...
What I think they're taking the part of him talking about police corruption and they're twisting that. So now all of these people have heard it from the media that Rorschach was saying like police corruption, whatnot. And then they've used that as kind of like a Jokerish, like, like in the Joker movie.
Movement. It's just a movement amplified.
Yes. And they're using that as a movement and using Rorschach as a basically like a character just to do it from.
Yeah.
And the one thing that really bothered me is that they've portrayed them all as these hillbilly guys.
The big South. Thing is just like white power, Ku Klux Klan, like which it's I
mean, I guess if you're portraying each side of it, you would, one side would have to be basically all white and the other side would have to be basically all black.
It seems like an odd thing, but
it does
especially given the political climate we're in now.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's an alternate Watchmen's like an alternate reality experience.
It is.
So it takes like the real world and puts its twist on it into potential alternate reality situations, and that's what it's doing here, and it's just doing it based around race. I think it's a little odd that it was written and produced and directed by a white guy, but whatever. Point is, right now it's getting a 94% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 43% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which, again, I brought this up. What movie was it that had... Or no, it wasn't a movie. It was the TV show Batwoman.
Yeah.
I was saying it had like a 89 or 90% Rotten Tomato score, and then there was a 33% critics or a people score, like a user score. So it was like 3.8%. It was something super low.
It's clear that the critics are giving credit to maybe its progressive nature as far as talking about race. And it's clear the audience is saying what, Jerry? What's the audience issue? Are we to believe that the audience is full of white nationalists who believe that and hate that the fact that we're talking about race on a television show? Because that's what the more media likes to portray it as right now.
Absolutely they do. And no, that's not the case.
That's not the issue here, is it, Jerry?
People do not want this in their TV shows. I just don't really believe that they want this type of show. I believe we want the Watchmen, and I believe we want that world of tying real world into fantasy and taking... I feel like you could still take today's issues and make a show out of it without it being a race war.
Well, that's not my problem at all. I don't think that's the problem with the show. I think actually I'm interested. I'm in. The second episode was hard for me to get through. I fell asleep about 4 different times trying to get through it. I think it's well done. It's interesting to me. It looks good. I think here's why I think that I'm in. Okay? Because I don't think we know anything about what this show is yet.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And that's what I was going to bring up. Because what really intrigued me is at the end of the second episode and the end of the first episode is that there's the black guy in the wheelchair, the old guy in the wheelchair that has some sort of a secret. Is he the boy that we see from Tulsa, or is he the dad that we see from the Tulsa thing with that note? I don't know. I believe he's tied to that somehow, but how is he tied to the weird Artemis airplanes that we see? Because those little... in the Watchmen, there's a airplane that... who is it? Night Owl?
Night
flies.
Owl.
It's called Artemis. And it's like this little owl spaceship. Or
the police have them.
Yeah, the police have a version of that. We don't know how, if it's the same thing or whatever. But at the end of the second episode, this old man gets taken away. They grab his car and take his whole car and everything away with one of those planes. And it was as if he knew that was going to happen.
Right.
It seemed that way, or he was completely fine with it going with that happening.
Well, he mentioned, he said, I got friends in high places. He said that.
That's right. And then that immediately happened right after that. So,
so there's a lot more going on under the surface that we're not privy to yet. So in that respect, I don't think we know anything yet. And I know Damon Lindelof is a mind fuck of a guy
because of Lost
and everything else he's done. So there's a lot to do. Now, why is it getting bad reviews? I don't believe it's because, of what you're even saying about people not wanting politics.
Can I tell you why I think it's getting bad reviews?
Why is that?
It's somewhat uninteresting.
And it's not Watchmen. Like, it has nothing to do with the Watchmen.
No, it's been somewhat boring. It's been a hard watch every episode, I think, to get to a point.
It has been a bit of a hard watch, but my issue so far is that I see no semblance of anything Watchmen related.
It's just the same world.
They took the name because it had street cred, and they said, "Hey, what's got the most street cred in the comic book universe? Watchmen. Let's buy the rights to that and make a show."
They've done two things that make me that is the only thing that ties it into the Watchmen world. Two things. One is keeping a Rorschach mask. Mm-hmm. That's it. So that ties it into the world. And two was it was a simple thing that they did in the first episode where it rained, and this was weird. It rained squids.
Yeah.
And I think that's a tie-in to, because there was a squid that happened to appear over New York City.
Definitely a tie-in to the comic book. They didn't do that in the movie.
No, not in the movie, but from the comic book, a squid appears over
It's like an interdimensional squid.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's what am I trying to say? Like an after effect of that happening?
Yes.
Like after that happened, now is it going to rain squids all the time?
Yes.
Because they all appear to not
normal.
care about that.
I definitely think that the interesting thing they've established is that there seems to be some disagreement within that universe where some people think it's a government conspiracy. Some people think this, that. So, there's makings here.
So those are the only two things that tie it into Watchmen to me at the moment.
To me right now, the most and only interesting thing about the show completely is what the fuck is going on with Jeremy Irons. Because he is killing it, first off.
He's the best actor in the entire show.
He's the best thing about that show. And his storyline to me is, I just want to watch it to see what's going on there. What's going on? Is he Ozymandias? I don't really understand who he is.
No, he's
Adrian Veidt.
Adrian Veidt. Yes, he's not Ozymandias.
Remind me who that is, because I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember who it is as well. He owned a company.
It's been a while since
I don't know. I'll have to research.
People are probably screaming right now.
I know.
Like, you don't know who it is, you idiot.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But
Adrian Veidt was in the movie. And he was in the comic book too, obviously. But
anyway,
I don't remember.
Is very interesting. Obviously, he's dealing with some cloning situation too. Another.
Was he the scientist guy that turned what's his name into Dr. Manhattan?
Oh, maybe.
He owned a company that was trying to develop a technology, and it ended up turning that guy into Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because that's kind of what happens in that play.
Yeah, and that's the reason why it sparked my memory on that. I think he had involvement with that. I don't remember.
So acting all over is a bright spot. I mean, Regina King's great. Jeremy Irons is lights out. Don Johnson is so good.
I love Don Johnson. As soon as I saw him in the beginning of that show, I was like, hell yeah, we got
He's
Don
so
Johnson
good.
back. He is really good.
Interesting twist for him in the second episode, so you'll see how that goes. Tim Blake Nelson, who was in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, but in this he plays Detective Looking Glass, the guy with the mirror mask.
Oh, that's right. I didn't know his name.
God damn, he's so good.
He's very good. I like that character a lot too, actually.
I love that character. He could play Rorschach in it. He should be
in an
Rorschach.
instant. It's there. This iteration's Rorschach.
He is so good.
100%. It's a direct play off of him.
So I'm in. Like, there's enough there that I'm gonna keep going with it.
So the more I talk about it right now, the more I'm in for it. From what I've watched, it's been a letdown.
It has been a letdown, but once you get over the immediate like, what? This isn't Watchmen. What the fuck are we doing here?
We have to let the story come together. I can't prejudge this on what has been given to me.
Well, Damon Lindelof said it. He's like, I'm not doing that.
Not doing what?
I'm not doing anything related to the Watchmen that has been out there before.
No, I know. It's a whole new world.
Because he said, if you listen to it, there's a Fat Man Beyond, the most recent one, where Mark Bernard, apparently him and Mark Bernard are friends. So he called Mark Bernard and said, hey, I want to talk to you about this thing. I got offered to do the Watchmen. What do you think I should do? And Mark Bernard said, I think you shouldn't do it. Don't do it. And
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, because he's like that. But Damon Lindelof apparently said, yeah, I mean, I definitely shouldn't do it. I mean, nobody needs to be doing that. And they both agree to that. And he said, well, and then Mark Bernard said, if you're going to do it, it has to be something completely unrelated, new, completely not even anything to do with it. And that's apparently what he did. So this is not the Watchmen.
No.
If you like the movie, if you like the book, this is not going to be what that is. What it is going to be is a commentary on the socio-political issues of the time through the lens of an alternate universe.
Right.
And magnified and throw in some crazy shit.
Yes.
Because that's what it is. Because that's what the Watchmen is.
Right.
If it makes you, it's just so happens that the first Watchmen was about the nuclear bomb and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this one's all about race, which seems like, I don't want to like come off as being like unsympathetic. But like, it seems to be significantly magnifying certain things about like, I think, I hate to say this stuff on TV, but like this whole like idea that like there's this menacing like Ku Klux Klan white power movement that's out there in America.
Right.
I just don't think it's there.
I don't think it is either. I think it's glorified as being something bigger than what it is. And I think that's what this show is doing.
Yeah.
But I also think this show I think that's like a ruse. You know what I mean? Like, I think they want us to believe that is the bigger menacing.
I don't think that that's what those people are doing.
No. Well, yeah, you're probably right. That's not what the 7th Cavalry is actually doing. I think at this moment, that is what the police force is like battling against. But I don't think that's the overarching scheme, is that these people are trying to just take out the police force. That's not what they're doing.
No.
There's something bigger that's happening behind that. This is just a front to like distract the police force, whatever, to distract them from what's going on that's bigger. And that's what I'm interested in. That's what I want to see. That's why I'm going to watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because so far, I don't think the story has been that great.
I do think it's interesting they got these like costume vigilantes that are working with the police in this respect.
Yeah.
And I
think it's really funny, the red
Yes, that's
red
what I was
guy.
going to say. And I like the fact that they just don't give you any backstory on them.
No.
Or like they don't really have any powers, but they are
that we can
brutally
see.
violent, which is kind of the same thing in The Watchmen. I mean, I don't think anybody really has any powers. But they're just like better. You know what I mean?
They're just better at things. Yeah.
Like Rorschach can go. Rorschach wasn't even that big of a guy, but he can go through and just clear a fucking room.
Yeah, he was.
And they don't establish any power. That's what I was kind of like about the Watchmen. They don't really establish any powers, but they're just able to like kick ass.
Yeah, you just accept them as the superheroes for whatever they're going to do. And in this show, there's a guy just with a red like ski mask with holes cut in it on and a red jumpsuit.
Yeah, Russian guy.
Right. He's like,
I think his name is Red.
They call him Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what he does.
And he's like kind
really angry all
pudgy,
the time.
He's not even like built.
No, he looks like some Slavic guy in a red Adidas jumpsuit with a mask over his face,
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know. I'm in to watch the rest of it. I'm not into the show. I'm not
at
the moment.
I don't think I'm into it either, but I'm intrigued enough to continue watching. I
want to know what the rest of the story
understand
is, yes.
why people are upset with it, and I do
Yes.
understand why there's a 43% audience score, because it so far is not The Watchmen. Does not mean it won't end up to be The Watchmen.
Sure.
So people need to chillax with that.
Yeah, chillax.
The 94% score, seems a little...
Critics are bullshit. Don't listen to the critics.
Well,
they do this all the time.
I feel like it's getting propped up maybe just because people think that it's like important socially.
No, I've said it I've said it in multiple episodes on this podcast, and I feel like the critic score is a media-driven score.
Yeah,
I feel like it's based in what the media wants us to like. I don't feel like it's a general populace type thing, which is obvious when you get to user reviews and you get thousands and thousands of these user reviews that are not in the same standing as the critics.
I do agree with the critics that the opening scene and the Tulsa massacre thing was like fascinating.
Oh,
and
yes.
Like eye-opening and like something that I had no idea. And I can't believe that somehow...
I'm really surprised you knew nothing about that.
Deleted from our history. I knew nothing about it.
It's like a black eye to the country.
And it's insane
For
to me
some
that
reason.
I've never heard of it. And like, it is a shame. And like, that's a whole thing. The whole point of the show is like, there's all these people mad that these, black people are getting reparations. They call them refordations.
Right.
But reparations. So that's like a big theme of the show. But I thought it was interesting, and I thought honestly, so right there it worked. Like whatever they were trying to do worked on me, because it took an issue that I didn't know anything about and brought it into my social consciousness, and I'm probably better for that. No doubt I'm better for that.
Yeah, I would agree, and I'm not shitting on that part of the show whatsoever. I'm just saying, like the overall storyline so far is not
the only
that
thing
great.
I could possibly shit on right now is that the shock value of what does this have to do with Watchmen? Why did they just take the name Watchmen because it had street cred and turn it into another show? But guess what? Nobody watches this show without the title Watchmen.
I know, and you said that about Joker too. You said this could be a movie that's just called The Clown,
right?
And it doesn't have to be the Joker. I feel more so. I would agree with you on this part than I would the Joker.
Yeah.
This does not need to be called The Watchmen whatsoever. I mean, they've taken very small steps to try to make this even in the same world. I can only
have
pick
to go out of their way.
Yeah,
like
I said,
mention Dr. Manhattan.
I could only pick out two things in the entire show that tie it into the Watchmen world, and now that you say that, three things, and it's only because there's
a lot of dickhead
Adam
in the
Veidt,
second episode.
Does a play that depicts Dr. Manhattan. So, and they have said that Dr. Manhattan's on. He's on
Mars.
He's on Mars in a news thing. They talked about him being on Mars, but that's it. It doesn't tie anything else in. So this does not need to be called The Watchmen. I mean,
well, we don't know that yet.
Yeah, like, can we call them the Watch People?
I just, who is the Watchman at this point?
Adam Veidt.
He is?
Yeah, he makes watches. He does.
Well, I mean, like, who's the Watchman in the original? So, like, were they, I assume they're referring to the core set of heroes.
Yeah, so the comedian,
group.
Night Owl,
Silk Spectre, right?
Yeah, Silk Spectre, Rorschach.
And they were like a group of vigilantes.
There's more.
Yeah, there's a bunch more.
Yeah.
And there had been more over time.
Right.
But they're like a group of vigilantes, and then that whole deal with the original book is like, the politics and government was coming down on them, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was a lot of framing going on, and there's a lot of stuff. So this is like the exact opposite. It's like the Watchmen, I guess, the vigilante heroes are like working with the state or the police or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. It's interesting. I'll keep going forward in it. I wasn't blown away. I'll say that.
Agreed.
I would have been more blown away if we could have just got a series based on the book.
I would also be much more blown away
with Tim Blake Nelson or whatever his name is as Rorschach, because that guy would be the perfect
he would
Rorschach.
be so good. But I liked the one that they had.
That
in the
guy
movie.
rocked too, man.
Was really
he was
good.
so good. When he pulls off his mask, you're like, that's what that dude looks like. And you're like, yes,
no,
that is what he
exactly
looks like.
what that guy looks like. Yeah, I thought that guy did a really good job, and I don't know his name, but
who is the guy?
They're very similar people.
Yes, they are.
And that's why I say I think they're doing that on purpose.
And
like,
then Negan was the comedian. He was perfect.
Yeah, he was really great.
The guy that played Night Owl was perfect. What's the chick's name that plays Silk Spectre?
She's hot.
But what's her name in real life? She's like a big time actor now.
I don't remember.
She's perfect. I mean, the casting was great in that.
Yeah.
Even the Ozymandias guy, who's in this show somewhere.
He's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in there somewhere. I don't know. We'll find out when. What's the order for this? Like what number? Like how many episodes?
I don't know. 10?
Okay. Yeah, it's got to be at least 10 probably. All right, we'll see how it
It'll
goes.
take us through Christmas.
Well, you guys wanted 2-hour episodes back, and you know what? We just gave you 2.5 hours.
Oh, is that for real?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
So.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sorry in the slightest. You complain about short episodes? I'm going to give you the longest fucking episode of your life. Right up it. Sorry, that got extreme. So for Snarf Talk,
I've been Chris.
I'm Jerry.
See ya.